Working for you, and it doesn't matter either one. That goes green. Record audio. Oh.
It's been glitching. My computer is glitching today. Jim, I sent you an email. That one report didn't show up in my,
Yeah, I resent. Did you see that?
what time?
Well, it's later on this afternoon. Yeah, I was kind of surprised because I looked up and I saw it. It seemed to have caught.
I kept clicking on it. Downloaded it. There was nothing there.
Oh, it was just the one report? That's right.
No, there's two reports there, but it was just the one
Just the one that did. Oh,
that didn't come in.
okay. Yeah, 'cause Hey, good busy?
This is unfinished business.
Yeah. What's that? The parking lot ceiling stuff.
Okay,
That's- Yeah, number 4.
gotcha.
Teresa would like to have you come into her office. She's not finding one thing.
This is one that you couldn't open. I don't know if you wanna.
What's here?
That's the one.
Well, oh, that's the one that
That's the ones
was,
you don't have.
that's the project timeline.
Yes. Did you see?
Question for you, real quick.
Oh, no, great. Thanks for being here. Yeah, good.
It was attached.
I like your glue. Can you say something?
Where would that be a good time, place to? Here? Oh. Any other business come before the board? Like there, would that be okay for me to say it there?
Mhm.
Okay. Go ahead and kick me in the shin if I forget.
I just wrote it down. Okay. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, how are you doing? Doing well. My name's Ted. Nice to meet you, Terry. Hello.
Crispy Blammer.
Hasten here.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Welcome. Great, yeah. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Beta.
Nice to meet you too. Very nice.
Hi, how are you? Good. We shoved down to the end again.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
My name's Ted Wilson. I'm new on the board, so. Cool. So nice to meet you. Yeah, they'll do some more stuff. Okay. Okay.
Trees. This is supposed to be tax collection. And you got 0.
I don't know where she comes up with these numbers, Mary, but this is balance, 0. This is the account balance. It is balance in my books. This is 430, balance in my book. 330. This is the statement. It's a balance. Unreconciled difference, 0. Oh, you want me to keep going? Because we're in February.
No.
These are wrong that she's given you. I don't know where these numbers come from, but these are right.
Okay, but this
This is right.
balance, the balance though is then 10, is what you have for the current tax collection.
Our current tax collection fund, I don't know why that came up as 10. Our current is 210, but 200 is what we keep in there as a rotating, as a regular balance.
Okay,
That's our starting balance that we always never go below. $10 is a or is money we got back from somebody's, or we put in back in there from somebody
Yeah.
writing a bad check. The bank charges that.
a bad check. That's
Yeah,
not
we got
good.
one on the last day.
Okay,
So, and then I also brought in the trust account because that says negative. But again, if you look at this, because these are my records of everything reconciling, 0. We keep a 20-cent balance. That's where we're at. This is May. We can keep going. This is April, 20 cents, 0 difference. This is March, 20-cent balance, 0 difference. Want to keep going?
no, that's okay. I'm just trying to put my brain around this.
I don't know how those numbers come up on there at all.
Grab that and copy down. Who's got the color copy?
Be there in 10 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know why.
Is this more just for our information, Jim? And okay, so we've received it and we'll go over it and then we can chat about it next month. Makes perfect sense. Did you count these trees?
I did. Oh, no, I did not count them. I just approved or matched them. Oh, no.
Can you count how many are?
And then check marks.
Yep.
Rose. I don't know if I brought in my. Red pen.
19 check marks.
Sorry. 39 minus 1 is
19, what do you think?
57. I'll write that on Mary's.
There or there? This one. Thanks, Rose.
Mhm.
Okay, this is number 4 goes after. This is number 5 goes after this. This is for the business.
That's the only thing we have in there that has a handout, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. But this is the only handout. This is what I was saying,
Okay,
right?
sounds right.
Yeah.
There.
That's the only thing we got.
Yes.
As far as global.
So I think that's what we should have discussion. If somebody wants me to reach out to them, happy to,
It's
or
global usually.
is that right?
They have in the past, but it's been a long time.
So,
Mary, that goes.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at where it says project kickoff meeting complete. Was there a kickoff meeting?
Jim will, he'll go over it. This is basically for our information. So we can go over it and then we can discuss it. But he'll tell you what it is.
Okay, put those two together, yep. So it's nice to see people.
It is.
6 o'clock, I'll call the meeting for the Inland Township Board to order, June 9th, 2025. And we will stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Miller,
Here.
Zelinski,
Here.
Worth here, Nelson.
Present.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to appoint trustee Miller as moderator for this meeting.
I'll support.
Mhm. I got it. I forgot to make anything with your name on it. Okay. Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
Worth, yes, Nelson.
Yes.
Public comment. Any person wishing to address the board may do so one time per public comment period. This is a comment input option. The board is not required to comment or respond to presenters. Silence or non-response from the board should not be interpreted as disinterest or disagreement by the board. Comments shall be addressed to the chair and not to individual board members or other in the audience. At this time, I open public comment at 6:04.
Dayton Post 330 Brendan Road. I noticed on here there's no budget adjustment and there's a new business about adding line items for, you guys hired a new person last month to do payroll and accounts receivable. And where's her money getting taken out of? There's nothing in the budget that says that. So. And then, so this last month, where'd her check get taken out of? Doesn't say in here, did it get taken out of the line item for, as being the deputy clerk, which isn't right, because then she's getting money taken out of the line item for deputy clerk, and that's not a deputy clerk position, that is her own separate position. So where is that on here? And that's not on here as on the agenda, so yeah, I think that needs to be brought up and talked about.
Okay, thank you. Your name, please.
Jacqueline Aveda, 900 North Betsy River Road. Thank you for your time this evening. I've been a resident of Inland Township for 25 years, and this is the first time that I'm addressing the board, so I appreciate your time tonight. I respectfully urge the board to consider the adoption of an ordinance that would prohibit the use of residential target shooting ranges within 150 yards or 450 feet of any occupied dwelling. This request is rooted not only in the well-established safety standards adopted by our other Michigan townships, but also as a pressing and personal safety concern in our own neighborhood. In March of 2025, a new resident moved to the area and has created a target shooting range in their yard and regularly discharges a variety of firearms. More concerning is that this individual conducts informal firearm trainings for people who are neither licensed nor familiar with safe firearm handling. This induces a heightened level of risk to nearby residents, particularly given the lack of oversight or formal safety protocols. My own children often play basketball or spend time in our backyard just 62 feet from the area in which firearms are being routinely discharged. This is uncomfortably close and creates a daily safety concern for our family and others in the vicinity. 150-yard setback is a reasonable, responsible measure that prioritizes public safety while still allowing for unlawful firearm use under safety conditions. For allowing for lawful firearm use under safe conditions. Other Michigan communities such as Oxford Township, Pittsburgh Charter Township, and Summit Townships all implemented similar ordinances based on the same distance to protect their residents. I respectfully ask that the board take this matter seriously and consider adopting a comparable ordinance in our township to help prevent a potential tragic incident. I do understand that Betsy River Road is lined with Inland Township on one side and Green Lake Township on the other side, and I do have a shared voice from both residents on both sides. I'm happy to provide signatures and support if necessary, but I think you can time. And I do have a photograph too showing this shooting range that was created.
Thank you.
You
Yeah.
want to sit at the table?
Any- Any more public comment?
I'm Terry Beeline, I'm going to address the same thing. We have property on both sides of this guy. And I emailed the zoning administrator of the township, basically stating where was the original proposal for this. It just popped up out of the blue one day. He's over there in an excavator digging stumps. He put up a berm around it, assures us it's 100% safe. But I can sit in my yard and I can hear bullet fragments hitting treetops. So not only that, it's a noise issue. Like Saturday night, he's out there, what time, 8:30 at night
Yeah,
shooting, you know.
one night
Our
it was
dogs are
9:30.
scared out of their
Yeah.
minds. We gotta listen to this weekend after weekend of shoot high-powered rifles, pistols, you name it, he's got it. He has his buddies coming over, they set up tents. You call the cops, they do nothing. DNR does nothing. That's, like she said, it's extremely close to their property.
It is, way close.
He's shooting this way. There's nobody behind him, but my house sits here. Their house is over here. He's shooting straight west. But, you know, he's got a hole in the ground, yes. And 10-foot.
And their
rounds or
situation
whatever it
is, as far as I'm
Please,
concerned.
please, one at a time. Thank you.
But I wonder where do we start to get this thing shut down? I mean, it's just, it's not even right to have to live to something like this, you know, that Grand Traverse County had to move one all the way out to South Boardman just for this reason. So nobody's around it. Nobody wants to listen to this crap day in and day out. And, you know, we've been there 35 years, not to say get off my lawn, but they've been here 20 plus years. We have neighbors, everybody. This guy just moves in, digs a hole and starts shooting. And it's not right. So we're wondering, where can we start to get this done?
Could you give me your name again, please?
Terry,
Okay. Thank you. Any more public comment? Yes, your name?
I'm Lexi Skyver, and I live up on Pink's Trail. And there is a serious blight condition up there. I've talked to the administrator about it. They were going to write him a letter, and if he didn't respond, they were gonna write him a certified letter. And apparently, it's been dropped through the hole, and nothing's been done. And he said that they might have to get the sheriff's department. He said this person doesn't live in the county, but he apparently bought that lot adjacent to my house, and all that trash is blowing over on my place and out into the pasture, and he's not doing anything about it. And I was just wondering if, you know, if there is, I know there's a blight ordinance, and I mean, there's a lot of people all the way around me that have a lot of blight, but this is annoying when it's blowing over on my property.
A certified letter has been sent. I
It has?
personally took it to the post office. I know that.
Do you know how long ago?
That I don't remember exactly. It was last week sometime,
Oh,
because
okay.
it all takes time. He has so many days from that too.
Okay. Thank you.
More public comment? Yes,
My name is Lawrence Aveda. I live at 900 North Metro River Road. And, you know, my wife pretty much said it in a nutshell with her say, but, you know, we're not anti-guns. We're not, you know, wanting to cause any problems with any of our neighbors, but it is like 60 feet away from our house, you know, like you could literally see him and then, you know, all his buddies or whatever. And it's not just like, you know, target practice or whatever. It's like rapid fire shooting, like ARs or, you know, something like that. And it's like, you know, I understand if you have like, he has 2.5 acres, just like we do. I would understand if you had like 10 acres or something like that, the back of his 10 acres, you know, that seems reasonable. You know, I know other neighbors, you know, across that they have, you know, they shoot every once in a while, but it's not like almost every night, you know. You know, this rapid fire thing is really, you know, kind of got me concerned because you can hear every once in a while, it's like, oh, is that something flying up and, you know, in the trees or something? And more likely it was because, you know, not every bullet's just going to go right in the dirt. You know, there's going to be something that's going to ricochet. You know, we have 2 boys, you know, they're outside all the time, you know, playing basketball, running through the woods or whatever. And, you know, we could literally, you know, 20 steps over and, you know, you're on his little hill of, you know, his shooting range. So seems like he slipped through the cracks somehow, like, you know, saw that there was no ordinance and, you know, kind of just took it upon himself. You know, I don't know if he got any type of permission from anybody or even got, you know, an excavating permit, you know, and, you know, to move that land. But it all seems just, you know, kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do, you know, with no concern of anybody else. And I don't think that's right. So definitely want to make this known, and hopefully we can get this ordinance, you know, figured out, because otherwise, who's to say that, you know, the next guy that, you know, has his 2.5 acres next door to Terry or I on the other side, you know, doesn't do the same thing, like, oh, well, if it's this easy, you know, let's do it. You know, I wish I had a shooting range on my property, you know, but, you know, I would know that, you know, that's not right to our neighbors, you know, so that's all I needed to say.
Okay.
All the homes are in the middle of the 2.5 acres too, so it's not just vacant 2.5 acres.
Any more public comment? Rosemary?
I'd listened to the last meeting, and I'd like to request not only the board, but the audience to speak up, because the volume on the recording is not good. So when the board talks, if you can also keep your hands away from your mouth, I would appreciate that, so that we can hear. With that being said, I don't even know where to start. The minutes there are so many errors on the minutes, and I'm not talking punctuation and grammar at all. But there are motions that were made are not accurate on the minutes at all. The prepaid bills, there's missing check numbers in there. And I'm not even gonna go over all of them, but I mean, if you can see my paper, it's completely written up where there are, motions are wrong, items are out of order. It's really bad. It's very, very bad. And when you guys started on the minutes, I'll chime in if you want. Also, I still have questions on the balance sheet, Rose, that you're providing. The 701, the trust account is still on a balance, or a negative balance, I should say. And you've been telling us for months that was going to get corrected. So I'm wondering,
Okay, please address your comment though to the chair. Thank you.
Well, I'm just saying Rose said she was going to have it fixed. So that's all I'm saying. I'm addressing it to everybody. So I'm just wondering, is that going to get fixed by next month? You know, we paid Manor to help us get our books balance, or excuse me, the general ledger balance, and it appears that it's not. And we've spent way more than was discussed at the last July meeting to have that done. So I'm just wondering, is there going to be a cap pretty soon, or are you going to make another motion to spend more money and, you know, put another limit on what it's going to take? Also have a question. We have our trustee leave and our supervisor leave. Has anybody on the board gotten their township property back, like laptops, keys, etc.? You know, who's responsible for that? Also, last meeting, Stanley Road property was supposed to close, but our supervisor left, and so did that property get closed? And if so, who signed the documents? Or is it coming up for closing, and are one of you guys going to take on that responsibility as well? Like I said, when you get to the minutes, there's just so many of things that are wrong that hopefully you guys have caught them, and if not, I'll speak up at that point.
Any other public comment?
My name's Rose Roloffs. I live on Taste Trail, and I just was curious if you guys would be interested in putting like the budget or proposed budget online. So when citizens of Inland Township can go on and look at it. Cause I couldn't find anything, but it's just a suggestion that maybe you guys could consider.
I believe it's on there. Thank you. It's just, it's not always easy to find in the,
But if it is,
it's not on there?
I don't have.
Oh, we
so as part of
recently,
the website thing I was gonna bring up, I'm just new to the website and, but.
It's coming in.
Well, I'm waiting for board members to put it out on the share drive for me to upload it.
Okay.
So, I have to wait.
we recently switched website companies and so it's trying to update it all and catch it
All
up.
that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
William Florida, 16341 Brundage Road. I'm in complete agreement. We need to dive into this rifle range shooting in residential areas. This township needs to take that seriously. I mean, it's a long ways from me, but that's too close. I mean, too much, too close. Sooner or later, the odds will be there. Murphy's always around, so.
Thank you.
When you go wrong, it will go wrong.
Any more
We should
public?
actually
Sorry.
dive into that and see if we can stop this.
I would like to address that. So on the third Monday of every month is the planning commission meeting where they are currently working on the master plan. And with that, they will be taking surveys and looking at the ordinances. So I would suggest you all attend that meeting as well. Because they're the ones who will have the most say in changing those.
That meeting here.
It's here too. 6 o'clock too on the third Monday.
Talk louder, please.
Sorry.
Any more public comment? Yes.
I'm Andrew Bishop. I live on Fewens Road. I'm not talking about the shooting of guns, shooting the frisbees at the park disc golf course. We put that in 3 years ago, and I'm here for the third year in a row to see if we can get it completed. The signs and T-pads, sent quotes, and there's good support from players and from the community, and we partnered well with the community, bringing fundraisers, events, food partners and others. Just like to get it completed because then, it's 90% done, just finish it and it would be great.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Hearing none, I will close public comment at 6:19. Move to approval of a meeting agenda.
To add to new business number 9, the draft audit report, that's the letter you got.
Under unfinished business, I'd like to add Bendon Stove.
I have some things to
I
add
didn't
to.
hear what Rose said to add.
Draft audit report number 9 on new business. You're welcome.
I would also like to add the smart office proposal we received from Jim last month to the unfinished business.
So that'd be number 6.
Yep, and then I would like to, I have some more things here. Oh, I'd also like to add the email change back to the unfinished business.
Number 7, email business.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we'll go over that at the same time as the meeting minutes, but, and I'd like to add number 10 in the new business and well, it's technically unfinished, I'm sorry, 8 unfinished, the policies and procedures.
It's already on there at number 3.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. One last thing, let me double check this, make sure I didn't miss it. We'll change number 10 in the new business, Dropbox. And I think that's it. Can't read my own writing.
I would take a motion for the meeting agenda. Okay, I move that we approve the meeting agenda with the additions.
I'll second.
Speak up so they can hear you. Yes.
Pardon?
You don't have to do it.
No.
So you need to.
Oh, sorry. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Approval of consent agenda.
Need to add for, down under unpaid bills, check numbers 15,720 through 15,739. So 19, had Ted count as well, the 19 checks to be written.
Is there a total for all that?
Yes, 14,833.60.
50?
60.
60.
14833.60.
Consent agenda, on the prepaid bills that we did on here, we didn't include 15,711 to 15,713 in anywhere for approvals. So 15711 was voided. 12 was Sam's Club and 13 was Cherryland bill. So we need to approve those, and I did not write down their totals.
Give me those again, the check numbers. 15,711 and what?
To 15,713.
13.
11 was voided, 12 was Sam's Club, 13 was Cherryland.
Okay.
And I did not. I think that was Cherryland Electric. And I didn't write down the totals. Oh, wait, I did. Sorry about that, I did. Sam's was 264.30, Cherryland was 579.78.
So a grand total of these bills.
844.18, I believe.
Okay.
Payroll's missing altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody removed the clerk from payroll, so the payroll I cannot access the reports. And it was illegally done because it was not board approved, for one thing, so there is no payroll report because I can't access it.
But the payroll person could provide you with one.
I don't have one.
Did you request one?
So we have nothing for payroll.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I do believe we voted on, 2 meetings ago, we voted to remove you from the payroll program if it was legal, and I checked with MTA and they said it was, in fact.
No.
I don't remember hearing that about removing anyone.
When we voted to remove her from payroll so that she had no access to social security numbers, I'm not gonna re-debate it, you can listen to the meetings.
It wasn't a motion.
Well, then I guess we better add that to new business, if you would like. Or unfinished business, either way.
You did approve it last meeting to hire Lindsay to do payroll and accounts payable.
That does
Yes.
not give the board the right to remove someone from BSNA.
You've never gotten board approval to add anybody to BSNA or to remove anybody from
Well,
BSNA.
It was never approved to remove the clerk from payroll. And someone did that, and there was, I had access to payroll on Wednesday, and on Saturday it was gone, so someone took it upon themselves to do it, or someone asked someone who is no longer with the township to do it, and because you can't just call BSNA and say you want to remove someone from part of the software program. I've already called and talked to them as well as the attorneys.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
so we have payroll on the agenda with nothing there. So what do we need to do? Table that item till we have payroll? Or, I mean, what's the process for what should be on the agenda for payroll? Not the what behind it, but how do we proceed forward? Do we just table that? So I'm leaning on you for.
Yeah, good question. I would say that it would have to be taken care of at a later date. I mean, we can't do something at this moment with it. So I don't know if we'll have to have a special meeting for that
Mary,
to get that.
we need to make a motion to remove it from the consent calendar and make a motion to table it to the next meeting.
Okay. So I move that we remove the payroll from the consent agenda and add it.
July.
I guess just remove it from now.
I'll second.
That one will take a roll call because it deals with money.
Okay, Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
Worth, yes.
So move to table this until our next meeting or special meeting, whichever we
We
need.
can't do it at the special meeting because we don't have a full board. We can't add something to the agenda.
You can if we repost, because we got 18 hours. You only need 18 hours, so you can add it. Yeah.
Don't have a full board, but you have.
We
You
have
can change
majority.
the notice. Mhm.
Mary, what do you want to do?
And by.
You were
by-
making a motion.
Yeah,
by state
I don't know,
statute,
excuse me, we're in the middle of a motion. Thanks, Jim. I don't have a calendar with me at the moment. I don't know what people have available.
Payroll's already been paid, so why don't we just table it till the next meeting? The regular board meeting.
If I may,
Go ahead, Jim.
oh, thank you. State statute, remedy for most fumbled falls by boards like this is to take care of it at the next meeting. That even includes when you're being, taken to court. You have until the next meeting to remedy the situation. You don't have the report for payroll, get it presented at the next meeting. Move on.
The table it done until our next regular board meeting, which will be July. Something.
Just next record. This,
July 14th.
Thank you for July 14th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I was thinking money again, so I was thinking
I'll
we
hit
had
you
to do
next
it.
time, okay? Since I can't whisper.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda?
Rosemary's saying no, but I don't know why.
Minutes, because the minutes are
Oh,
on.
yes, we have to pull the minutes. I'm sorry. I knew that.
Which minutes?
The 12th,
Or the night?
just the 12th, I believe. I don't think I have any notes on the 19th.
Okay, so your motion is to approve the consent agenda minus the minutes from May 12th.
Minus the minutes and payroll.
Payroll we've already taken
Right.
care of.
Right, so. My motion is to approve this minus the minutes,
May 12th.
May 12th.
Second.
I don't think I found it.
All approved?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. So let's go back to May 12th. What do we need to change?
Well, I have one question first too, and this is just a clarification that I would like made if possible. So because I noticed when I was listening and comparing that with this, that often these names aren't in order of how the vote's taken. Do they have to be in order of how the vote's taken?
I don't think so. It's just a record of who votes how. I don't think it has to
Okay,
be ordered.
I'm just asking, it's just a question.
Yeah.
So, right, are you ready?
Mhm.
So, and this move to purchase 2 hoses for 526 all the way down in B under reports, new hoses for there.
Mhm.
Shouldn't it say from CSI?
No, it was never said that.
It's said right clearly in there. So that's my first, and then under this Parks and Recs, it says Peggy Case reported on Lamb Road and Dave Davis reported on Inland. Does not need any major reports at this time. Repairs at this, I'm sorry. Dave, voiced to us that he had quotes on paving and sealing for the walking trail. And also he was taking sealed bids on playground. I think that should be noted in there. Moving on. Website committee. Jim Brower gave report and asked for a laptop for those needing for the website. And the motion was up to $600. And I believe we voted on that. And this does not have votes. This just says all A's. We voted it all, but we took personal votes. And then it also, next land committee, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be nitpicky, but when you go back and you try to find things in old minutes, it's really hard to if they're not, it makes it easier to find that. So land committee, Dave reported that there was an offer for Stanley Road for $73,333. I think that amount should be listed.
Say that again, 73.
$73,333.
That was to do what on Stanley?
To sell a parcel that the township owed.
73,333.
3333.
And then it says move to pay deputy clerk, I'm skipping down a few lines, move to pay deputy clerk $18 per hour by Davis, or by Zelinski, seconded by Davis.
Where are you? I'm sorry.
Oh, did you find it?
1, 2, 3, the fourth one down.
Yep.
Okay.
Move to pay, that was seconded by Mary, when I listened to the report.
Really?
Good. Both, I think you probably both said it and I just took whoever was closest to me.
And then it was also, the motion included $20 after 90 days. And that's not listed.
It says 20 after 90 days.
That's for payroll and accounts payable. It doesn't say it for deputy clerk. Up here for deputy clerk, we did.
Deputy clerk was just gonna be 18.
Didn't we do that for that one too?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, sorry about that
That
one.
wasn't the suggestion, it was under the other ones that was suggested, 18, 20.
And then this, I'm sorry, I must have missed those two together. Move to use federal guidelines for travels and meals.
Wait, now where are you?
2 lines down. And that, I believe, should be quoted because of the motion was moved to use federal guidelines for our per diem for travel and meals. So we're not asking later for per diem and the travel meals.
I think we just said we were gonna use the federal guidelines for travel and meals.
Travel and meals.
But that's the per diem rate. That's what that's called. So I think.
Right,
and
that's not what it was said.
Yes, it was. And so I think that should be quoted in there.
I thought we were getting rid of per diem and just going with.
We're not doing a flat per diem like we were, $60 per half a day. We're doing the per diem by the federal guidelines. That was the motion. Pay the per diem by the federal guidelines. Because each city is different. If you look up the federal guidelines for them.
Okay.
I did think of something else here. So new business under this line on number 2, election training. Move to pay clerk mileage for election training by Davis, seconded by Brower. We included the deputy clerk in that.
Deputy clerk for election training?
Move to pay clerk, yep, because we voted for the election training for both of them.
She's not going.
We can't make this motion because that's what the motion was. Sorry. And then number 4, the Bendon stove, it was $750, and that might just be a typo, not $700. This next one, the emails, this one is kind of, that's why I asked for it to be brought up in unfinished business. So the change from LIAA to Unibit. When I stated the motion, I'm sorry, there was so much conversation going on. When I made the motion, I said to change it from LIAA to Unibit or to Intercom. But then when Jim Brower so kindly reread that motion later, he only included Unibit. But so I just wanted to make sure that. So we can talk about that. It shouldn't really say that he did make a motion. It should say Unibit because that's what he read and I didn't catch that when he said it. Okay, so.
On that one too, it doesn't have who made the motion, who seconded it.
Oh, I have that. That was the other reason I had that there. Who made motion? Brower made the motion and I seconded it. It's not included in here. And then also under the emails things, I also made in the motion originally, but was not stated in Jim's motion, that we include emails for both trustees. And I think that needs to be included when we get down to the new business because there is fees for that. It's money, so it has to be done. All right. I'm not done. Or you got something on that page still? All right, you can finish when I'm done. So payroll taxes, move to have mail from the state of Michigan and IRS opened by 2 people. So clearly when the motion was made, it said so that the board would be made aware of what these letters were stating. And I would like to add that because I forgot to add that. Oh, it is on there. Never mind. But on that motion, I made the motion and Davis seconded it. And on this, it says Miller did.
And so the information is supposed to be presented to the board after those are open?
That's what I said. So board would be made aware of. And then Davis seconded it. And just a small minor thing. Cemetery flags next, it says move to have Bill be in charge. It should say move to have Bill sworn out, just so we know who Bill is. Well, in charge of putting up Memorial Day flags on the grave sites. He only agreed to do the grave sites. And then another small one, move to have Ted replace Jim. I think those 2 guys have their last names. Skipping down under Jim or trustee Brower. Submitted his resignation under these here.
Oh.
You should have.
Add last names.
And then under public comment,
Hold
There.
on, hold on.
I'm sorry, there's a lot.
Well, they weren't included in the motion, so that's why they weren't included on that. So we can include them, but I said that Ted replaced Jim.
Well, she said say last names, so we know who Ted and Jim are in the future. Are you caught up, Mary?
Mhm.
Okay, next, public comment. There, Dayton reported in public comment that there was camping at the Lamb Road Park, or Lamb Road Park, not the Inland Township Park. And that's all I have. I think.
Also on that, because the website needed to be, or the website up to date, but it should be, needs to be updated because I don't have all of the stuff.
And where are you on?
Public comment.
Oh. Okay,
And then also back on, will be page 2, under your motion to hire Lindsay for payroll and account payroll. Never mind, sorry, I didn't get it wrong. Sorry.
did you have anything, Ted? Dayton?
On my public comment about the camping, I said, besides in the park, I said that we need to look at, drafting the ordinance or no.
You did.
Camping on our property.
But that's a matter with the planning commission. But if you want that included too.
Thank you. I move that we approve the minutes of May 12th, 2025 with the additions and corrections.
I will second that.
Is there any discussion?
Sure.
So I think sometimes it feels like we're blurring the word of the motion with discussion that may have followed or preceded. So I think we just need to be mindful 4 weeks later that the motion needs to be stated in the minutes as it was stated at the board meeting. So if there was discussion afterwards and this discussion is important to that motion, we should include that as discussion. But here we are 4 weeks later going through what may have been said, or well, I mean, not may, what was said or whatnot, but was it in the motion? Is that how the motion was verbally stated? I just think as a board, it might be an opportunity for us to move it back.
Good comment. I think the chair should probably restate the motion before we vote on it,
Thank you.
or have the clerk read back the motion. That would probably be.
Depending on what rules of order we're following, it's supposed to be the chair, the moderator.
Oh, all right.
Depending on which rules you're following,
Okay.
it's usually the moderator who redoes that.
Any more comments on the motion that's on the floor?
My only comment is I agree. It would be really great to see a sentence or two about the conversation that took place, if that's possible. I don't want to spend 3.5 hours having to listen to a meeting that I attended to get the corrections again.
Okay. So it has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 12th, 2025 with the additions and corrections. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, financial reports. Who would be doing that?
So just quickly, as I was appointed as trustee, I previously was chairman of the finance committee. Paul Lepinin will be moving into that role. Unfortunately, Paul is not here this evening. So going forward for the clerk and the treasurer, look forward to Paul reaching out to you, each of you respectively, on the first of the month to get the financials to put this dashboard together. So I think the dashboard is a little bit noteworthy in that, you know, we're 2 months on this budget, 2 months into the fiscal year, which is about 16.6% elapsed, and we're about half that in terms of our expenditures. So we're spending at a rate anyways, trending far less than what we budgeted. So there's a lot of seasonality though that will drive that and change it, but just so you know, so that's all.
Thank you. Reports, Finance Committee. Well, that kind of takes care of the Finance Committee then. We'll move on to County Commissioner. I believe we had a
Arts report.
yeah, arts report. Turn to the right page here. Yeah. Did everyone have a moment to read through the report from the Commissioner? Any comments from anyone?
Do we have a commissioner in the audience that might be able to elaborate?
Oh, we do. Dave, do you want to say anything?
So, I mean, you got the report, it's kind of everything that we voted on, but, big things are the county is gonna move to the cloud version of the BSNA. And, when they have their training for that, it's gonna be probably a year out still before they have it set up and actually working. But when they have that training for that, if anybody wanted to sit down on that to see if it's something you guys are interested in or whatever, that would be available to you. And then, 21st, I believe, they are having a FOIA and OMA class. It is not the 21st, 27th at 9 a.m. If anybody wants to come to that. Tomorrow's meeting, big discussions will be the airport authority and Betsy Point Lighthouse. And then feeling about those things, so we've been meeting with that.
Any questions for our commissioner? Okay, thanks, Dave. Fire chief.
I didn't get a report submitted to you, due to the report companies migrating their software over to whatever, so there's like 3 reports that haven't been entered in the software because that person responsible for it is, his family members having an emergency, so he hasn't been able to get here to put those reports into the system. And he knows more stuff about those than I did because I wasn't at 2 of them. So I'm waiting for him to get those put in and I'll get reports. But I can tell you that using 16 calls total, 11 of them were EMS, 5 were fire type calls for last month. I do have that, but I don't actually have that report because I can't bring it up.
So can I speak on your report time?
Yeah.
So a very nice lady came into my office a few days after having a fire at her home, and she could not speak highly enough of Dayton and his crew. And she prized them for saving her house because her shed and 28 cords of wood were on fire. Ooh. Yeah. So I just wanted to share the kudos for Dayton.
I got a resignation letter from Aiden Waddell. So we already needs to approve his resignation. He is moving down state to Lansing, getting a job, and then he applied for trooper recruits.
Move to make a motion to accept Aiden Waddell's resignation from the fire department.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Tell him thank you for us.
Thank you, Dayton.
Physicals are done. We did those last month, so everybody got their physicals. We have some that don't do it for us. They do it at their other departments that they're on full time. So I get copies of those. And then we have one person that's on our department, another department. He did it with them. So usually every year we rotate. So 1 year they pay for his, the next year we pay for it. So it goes back and forth. So physicals are done. We had a busy weekend. We ran like 9 calls over the last couple of days. So it's, yeah, sometimes it's busy and sometimes it's not, so. But other than that, that's all I got unless there's any other questions.
Any questions for the fire chief? Thank you, Dayton. Assessor, we have a written report. Let's see if everybody's had a chance to read it. I'm kind of behind on this. No appeals in March, Board of Review, that's different. Okay. Any questions about the report? Our assessor is not. Okay. All right, moving on, zoning administrator.
Well, the zoning administrator didn't fully understand how the report's timing for the board packet get into the things, but it is created. So if you want to take one and pass them down.
Thank you.
I'm trying to train him better. It's a bit tough.
Do we know what's happening with the blight complaints? I see that we've got 3 current. Do you,
If you, I do. I don't know if it's my place because I don't know if I should speak clearly. Yeah.
In order to.
We can write them up for you. There is
Yeah.
one, as I stated earlier, that has had a certified letter sent. That's
okay, yeah, that'd be nice. Okay. Moving on.
of the letter sent. I can ask him.
On to Inland Planning Commission. Here again, we have a report.
Yeah, Jim just got these over, he didn't get them in time for us to read, so he will explain that this is for us to just review.
So, we have a public hearing on property on Sand Road.
Okay, can you speak a little louder,
Sure.
please?
Public hearing on the May 19th. Discussion with Mr. Norris about his property. Bottom line is we got the attorney response that said that CPD visitors classified as residential does not mean that they're going that shows a commercial. It has to be commercial. We went through and talked to them, and was asking a special use permit. We were able to approve it with recommendations with restrictions. Other thing is, 2011 is when the split happened. That should have never been residential because there were 3 mobile homes on that new property, and our zoning does not allow multiple living residences on a residential property. Plus, there's 4 other spaces where there could be a potential of more trailers. So that whole thing should have been handled differently. I heard there's a report from Sarah, our master plan gal. She put together a schedule that will have a monthly report for a couple initial meetings with her, and she also put together a draft master plan, which you also have a copy of. And we will be having a special meeting on August 12th for citizens to give us some input on what they're hoping to see with our master plan.
Is that also going to be at 6 o'clock? Because there's no time listed here.
We haven't said it yet.
Oh,
But most likely, make sure that citizens are.
okay.
Also, our next meeting, we're going to be talking with potential
new members for the planning commission. Renee Bissler, what's your last name? Who's the individual that they wanted to have brought on board. But, is leading the meeting for Greenhall. And also I met John Cranmer in my walkabouts before the election. I invited those three folks to meet with us on our next board meeting. So if we talk and see what they have to say. I've heard from William and John. I have not heard back from them today. So I don't know if you see three. I think my hope is to come with a recommendation for a new board member and someone to sit in the sidelines as a potential associate member. So that we got somebody backing us up in case somebody decides they don't want to do this anymore or we have to change. So I'm open to that. At least some backup.
Any questions for
I just
Jim?
wanted to add something. Do we ever voted on training budget for the planning commission? A few of us would like to do the citizen planner. And I'm just wondering if I need to ask the board today to.
That's already been approved.
It's already been approved,
You
so.
didn't get any of the paperwork in, so I just get you signed up.
Just need to.
Remember that came and I gave you guys handouts, because it's online.
Right, so just need to contact you and.
Yeah, and then, I'll have to call them and ask them if they'll take a check, because we don't have any way to pay it. Because we don't have a credit card.
Or maybe, I could use my credit card and then. you guys can take that.
Let me, get in touch with them and find out.
So I'll just send you an email then to sign me up.
Yeah, and remember, you have to go through the process of signing yourself up. But I'll find out if they'll take a check and how many of you are actually gonna do it, so we can write a check to cover that for how many you want to do it. That'll work.
When I did that, you paid for it. Reimbursed.
Oh, you did? That's been a while.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the same.
I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. But the money's already been approved for you to take those 2 classes a while back when you did the, that other class.
Okay, Park and Recreation?
Well, I guess I shouldn't have left last month's meeting 15 or 20 minutes early, because so much seems to have changed since I was last year. So I walk in and I feel a little bit lost, I guess. People are not on the board anymore who were on the board. And so anyway, I'm going to try to adapt here. There were some things that I was going to do or was supposed to do, but 2 weeks ago, I ended up giving myself a concussion fracture in the middle of my back, which is why I'm sitting here with this pillow. So I've been a little slow for the last couple of weeks, haven't gotten very much done in terms of things. But there's one of the things I was going to do was call the Parks Committee meeting at the Lake Ann Road Park, which I have not done. It's clear that there's a lot of things that need to happen over there. I see there's a thing about the sign. I drove by there this morning and noticed the sign and I screwed up. There's some work that needs to be finished on the golf thing, right? Frisbee golf that needs to be finished, which we should have been able to talk about, but the question is what does the board want to do to move forward on that, because that needs to get finished. It's something we would have moved on a little bit, but we haven't actually talked about it much. So, and Dave was the sort of board person that was kind of coordinating or supposed to be coordinating various things on that park. I mostly take care of the Rainbow Park.
So there are some things that got started and haven't been finished. And they need to be gone over. And then in the meantime, the planning commission is working on things. There's a master plan, so somehow we have to coordinate that kind of stuff so that our committee is not doing things that are not part of the master plan, planning commission. So I need some, support and some advice from you on how to integrate what we're doing with what you're doing. And in the meantime, the things that have already been approved, it would be nice if the board would just sort of say, yeah, go ahead and do it, get it done, and allocate whatever money is required if there is any. So.
I don't know that there's anything that's been approved that's waiting to be done.
Finishing up of the.
Just finding people to do the gazebo is the only thing.
Well, that's, yeah, I'm talking about over at the other part.
We've not approved anything to be finished there. Yeah.
To finish up this whole thing.
Not at this time.
The costs have been brought forward the last 2 years. They haven't changed. Volunteerism would be labor. Our building supply would be materials, and almost would drive around and do it in 2 hours. And would be a crew of 8 to 12 people with volunteers and the players that would finish up. Just a matter of doing that. I worked with Rose on contact with some better signage and of course too. Just to let people know that there's a course and be cautious and everybody sharing their departments together. There's no, it's not competitive, but it's of course, it's a teaching course. It's what would be referred to as a pitching pod. It's not a, there are no long holes or blind holes or obstructed holes. You can see anybody walking the dog. You can see anybody pushing a stroller. The fact that it goes in 2 different directions isn't a problem either. It doesn't get so much play that it is any kind of conflict. You can see everybody. Everybody can communicate. There haven't been any formal complaints. There was initially one letter when it was first installed, and that's been long since diffused. And it's another senior that's now winning events frequently, so he's
So what needs to be done in your mind to finish?
Well, Peggy, can we do this first?
Yes, okay.
Rudy, you want to be on the Parks Committee?
I would help them for a committee, you bet.
He's already contacted me.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to add Rudy Bishop to the Parks Committee.
I'll support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Miller. I don't know what I got myself
Yes.
into.
Yeah, you
The
don't.
cost is to complete the courses for the tee boxes and materials is under 2,500. I think it's like 2,200 or 2,100. I'm going it right now. But the prices haven't changed from it's 4 to 6 week turnaround to get the volunteers coordinated, get it on their schedule, and it's done and it's finished. It shouldn't really be obtrusive to anybody. It's not in a place where it's in the nice way. If there are suggested modifications, we can open to those instead of forward. So we want to go forward with it. There are reports to UDisc is a website where people find resources like courses, clubs, leagues, events, and you can log your rounds. And I've been sending Dave and I've had information on the logged rounds in the National Park for the last 3 years. They say the national average is about 23% of what's I've never logged around, except when I played in the tournament. So, I just go out and play cash and go on my phone. I'm not that adept to the computers, but you can do that, and a lot of people do, and it's amazing the people that play that course multiple times. There's a women's league that's playing there once a month this year on Thursdays. There's kids leagues, and we've partnered up with, like I said, Benson Food Partners for the last 3 years. A food drive up high school raised this past year 752 pounds of food. Similar numbers, a little bit less each year, but it's been growing. And sports been great. And this year was interesting. It was 2.5 feet of snow, so they had 2 years. Love to just get it completed and wrapped up, because then it's done. There's not really like a lot of work to do. There's no real maintenance to do with this golf course. So, especially if there's some empty fans, there's no erosion or any right there. That's all I got.
Okay.
So the land road, part, the trails are done, and they're walkable, people have been using them, and we've been maintaining them. We have a small crew of volunteers that live over there and rakes and sticks out of the way, and they're in pretty good shape. We went and did a wildflower search a couple of weeks ago to see what's there in the wildflowers. There's a few. It's not a big wildflower, site, but there's a few. The gazebo came as a kit. I want to make that needs to be clarified. It's a kit that gets put together. We have the detailed directions on how to put it together. The hard part is the footings. You have to put footings, cement footings in. The cement has been sitting over there on a pallet for probably over a year now.
I don't think it's any good anymore.
Yeah,
It felt hard.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be any good anymore. So we need to, I have a crew of people who are willing to go over there and put it together, and we have checked with the insurance people, and apparently it's okay for us to do that as long as I sign off on it and I supervise.
Said a licensed builder had to
Yeah.
sign off and.
The final sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
License.
still have to find a licensed builder?
Mhm.
Just
Because
to
the
sign
last
off
time I
at the
was
end.
here, I didn't get that impression. I got the impression that it was.
Just-
We've got a new system.
Just upon completion, Peggy. It's on completion of it.
On
Yeah.
completion
On
of it, I had a
completion of
licensed
it.
builder come and say it's okay.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear that we are not actually building, because it's
Right.
Everyone knows.
already
Yep.
built, it's just in pieces.
Right. Right.
Okay, so I have 5 people who are going to come and do that. It's just been set back because I actually
And I think that will be
function
covered,
very well, right?
I think that will be covered in our unfinished business number 1.
Yeah, so.
To get
so other
that
than that, I don't. have,
done.
There's, the other thing is scheduling an event, which I need to talk to you about. I haven't.
Peggy, you bring that up under, public comment?
Hmm?
You bring that up under public comment, because that has nothing to do with the parks.
Well, the event is with the park, it's at the park, it's the open, I want to do it.
Oh, you're doing the opening. Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about your other event you wanted. You want to do the opening.
You know, after the gazebo's
Perfect.
up, I think it'd be nice.
Yeah.
We can do it before, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
It would be nice to schedule. And I think we can go ahead and come up with some dates.
Yeah.
That would be suitable.
Okay.
And then-
We'll do that.
actually publicize. The other thing I wanted to speak to is,
A nice part.
Nathan, you said something about camping over there. Somebody did. I have been watching that little piece of tarp that's over there that has camping equipment on it. It's been there for a while. It was there this winter.
Yeah.
It's still there. It's there last week.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it. There's no people there. Somebody is just storing some equipment. I have not seen anybody actually set up a tent or a camp. There's a tarp and there's some camping stuff underneath it.
People used to hunt that. Too.
Yeah, I know.
Board meeting and stuff, conversation.
So this is, it's been there for a while, and I kind of chose not to do anything about it, just check in on it every now and then. See if anybody was there and actually using it.
We'll have to get some rules and regulations up there so people know that they cannot be parking
Right,
there.
but I'm not aware
Camping
that
stuff.
anybody is actually camping. Right? Storing some stuff there.
Okay.
And it occurred to me that maybe somebody who was living at the Pines was putting some stuff there, so when they close the Pines down, they might, but they haven't. Pines are closed down.
Okay.
So I don't know what it's about.
So it's
Thank you.
abandoned.
Well, in some ways, I guess it looks like new stuff, you know.
It's covered, it's lying flat with stuff.
Okay, okay, rather than
This is not
carrying
a,
on the
yeah,
conversation,
meeting.
I
that,
just want you to know that I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
We're kind of keeping an eye on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Website committee,
So, it's up to date with what I have, but I am missing, specifically the township, minutes from last year. There's a lot of
last
them.
year?
Yeah, it's for the new one.
Oh,
Yeah, they quit putting it on the old, website. Sorry. So, yeah, I need, all the minutes and packet and agendas and everything for, most of last year, like starting in August, I think. You'll have to go back and look and drill down into each of the months to see what's missing. Also missing a bunch from the planning commission for sporadically for the last couple of years. Again, I'm not gonna go in and tell you which ones are missing. You can look at the website and figure it out, and then if they can get uploaded to the share drive, then I can go in there and then get them added to the website. Maybe you've got a new person, so if you give me all their contact information, if you want a picture on there, and give me that information, then I can get that updated as well. So whatever, if you're gonna do an open house, or, you know, you want volunteers to do whatever, you know, what you want on there, you just have to tell me. I can't guess, and I'm not gonna make it up, so, but yes, I do have my, the website person, I at this point have a laptop. It's still not fully, updated with, through the,
Server.
yeah, so it's in progress, so. At this point, I'm coming in and using, Teresa's, thank you, computer to make sure that things get done, so. But as things get, until my computer is up and going, you're gonna have to let me know when you put stuff in the shared drive, because I'm not coming in every 5 minutes or every day to check that shared drive. You know, gotta let me know, and then I can get it up to date. But
Yeah.
there's, if you've looked at it, there is the information, that we're hiring for the new supervisor, it's out on the front page of the website and stuff, so. Mary, you've got a new email address out there. Jeff's got his new email address. Now you gotta figure out how to get into it, right? Yeah, there you go.
You better do it quick, because that temporary password might only have so much time.
oh,
Mary, come in tomorrow and I'll give you, I'll have Guy get in touch with you and help us
I'll
out.
have to try it.
You can log in anywhere, Mary. If you want to stop by, I'll show you how to do it real quick.
Okay.
Gary. Can I go back to Parks and Rec and then to website again? Is that okay?
suppose.
So for Parks and Rec, just to let you know, or maybe it's more of a question. Should we speak now about adding to the agenda for the July meeting, a motion for the disc golf? The board, and I guess that's the question. Should we have that on the agenda?
We don't need to make a motion to add that. to the
I get
agenda.
it. So, but maybe I'm just planting the seed then. We need to put on the agenda for July, a motion to finish up that disc. And I believe, or what was it, somewhere just south of 3,000?
No, it's less than 2,500.
2,500. So, and to put it in perspective, for the budget for this year, there's 62,900 set aside for Parks and Rec, of which 0 has been expended. So that's well within the budget. Just advanced conversation for next
We
month.
work really
Clearly.
Well, the labor's free. I tend to cook a little bit.
And then jumping back to website, just a compliment to the chair of the website committee. Very fast turnaround on a couple of requests that I've asked and the planning commission has asked of the website. So it's the turnaround's very good. The service is great. So just a compliment.
Okay, good. Did you have something else, Rosemary?
Yeah, when you were talking about the parks, I don't think it's the board holdup. It's a matter of them having the proper documentation for bids because of the dollar amount involved.
Well,
So that's kind of the board holdup.
well, and also the holdup was the master plan and putting the parks and what exactly one we wanted to do on the parks on our surveys.
Right.
And also there are some other concerns and I'll talk to you about them later.
It all needs to get done, but.
Yeah.
The video for the meetings, is it available?
They are. Are you recording it, correct?
It is being recorded, yes.
Yeah,
This
it's
one
on
is.
YouTube.
Was it last month as well?
Yes.
Yes, last month was, special meeting was not. Where the board accepted the resignation of, sorry?
How do you find them?
Go to YouTube and you know how to use YouTube at all? Stop by my office next week and I'll show you how. But go to YouTube and search for Inland Township and it'll come up.
And
The
you have
meeting.
to kind of scroll down. It's not kind of in order. So you gotta kind of scroll down through it.
You gotta hit the live. There's 3 columns, like you gotta hit the live to get the most recent ones, even though they're not really live. I'll show you.
The only thing that's hard about that, the video is the sound. You know, if you get like a microphone to pass it around, people to talk.
We added that to the agenda. Not public comment.
I don't know.
Is that it, Rosemary? Okay. Event committee.
Okay, so the Easter egg hunt was a huge success. So first, it was later in the year that last year, and later in the day too. And it was a very sunny day, and when I looked at all the cars coming, I was like, that's not enough eggs. There was like over 70 people there. I didn't count, maybe more, I have to say. So I felt bad because, very soon there was no eggs to find, but.
There's a huge box of eggs over there. We had a huge box of plastic eggs over at the other building.
Oh, already made? Well, it's just that.
You didn't know about them?
No.
Okay.
No,
For next year.
We actually did more than last year, but we were not expecting so many people. So that's all, but it's okay because families had fun. It was a beautiful day. The playground is there anyway. So they collected the eggs and then people were just hanging out on the park.
That's
So
good.
huge success, and we just took some notes on how to do it even better next year, which is obviously just mostly having more eggs. And then, so the committee was discussing about having a movie night at the park. But with, dark being so late, we thought that maybe it was not the best idea to, for families because it'll be too late. So we just came up with the idea of having a picnic in the park. So the idea will be to ask everybody to just bring a blanket and we'll provide food. So we discussed about doing a partnership with Myers and trying to get subs and pack of chips and water, and people can just like get blankets and play at the playground or hang out or meet new people. But maybe the time frame to be able to get this sponsorship from Myers is not gonna be great. So then we thought about having maybe a hot dog food truck that could just distribute hot dogs. So everybody can come and register with us and give a ticket, and this ticket is like a hot dog and drink and something. Just go to the food truck and then just enjoy the day.
So have you set a date for something like that?
So we have a potential date, which is up in July 19th. it will be again late in the day, wanna make sure like it's warm and nice. But actually what's gonna determine the date is when the food truck is available, because it's also wedding season, event season, so I'm gonna have to start making some phone call and see if we can find a food truck on Saturday in the summer that is available. So the goal is to have it either in July or August. Anyway, that's gonna be our summer events.
Okay.
Along now with the park,
Anastasia, if you go to Tom's,
yes,
they have in the past offered to supply food, hot dogs and stuff like that, because the manager there, he considers Inland Township to be a part of his community, because just because he's Interlochen, says Inland Township, I mean, get your business, you're
Right.
part of our community, so he, I'm sure would be
Okay.
willing to
so I'll stop by next time and
Yeah.
and talk to the manager.
yeah.
Now, one of the thing that we need to consider is like, how do we ask like people to RSVP or something? Because how do you know how many, how many subs you need? The idea of having a food truck
Right.
is you don't have to worry about that, because he can make 100 hot dogs or he can make 300. That was our concern also when we moved up on the idea of getting, subs from the place. It's just how do you manage how many people there are. So that's what we are working on right now.
Okay.
And we didn't use all their budget for the 2 previous events, so not to worry about this one. We'll still in it, but when I have more information, I'll get back to the board.
Okay, thank you. Board member.
Public comment.
Oh, no,
Question about that.
Yes.
Events. Will they resume the chili cook-off, and is there a possibility of do it? No?
well, the chili cook-off was done by the fire committee, the fire association, and I don't think they're going to be doing anything like that. At least I have not heard anything.
Maybe like September or something, football season, where you maybe do a silent auction and do chili cook-off and do some, because it was always
It was
big
good.
success.
Township can't do that.
You can't fundraise.
The township.
So can we do, so maybe it's not their fundraiser, just do a chili cook-off.
Donate.
Yeah, no. And have prizes donated.
It still generates money and
Yeah, I think we get flagged on that. Yeah, it is too bad.
It was really a lot of fun.
I even do the hot dog like those, because you and I can talk, because when I was in the event committee, we can't do that either because of health department reasons. We can't just.
That's why the food truck, so we don't
Correct.
need, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
budget it, then you-
Yeah. There's
So we
something-
don't need any,
There's health department.
right, because we were wondering, actually, wasn't a discussion, if the subs are already made, then, we're not, but we are the one handling it, I mean, like giving it, so that's why at the end, yes, that was another reason why we said the food truck.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Good. Board member reports.
I printed the report that you asked for me.
Thank
So I don't know if you guys got this, the old reports that we used to do every month and sign, that, if you want to pass those down. Because I'm trying to figure out how to match the report that Rose has included, and I can't figure that one out yet. So we have a lot of time to spend on it, but they don't match.
Okay. I want to thank Bill for being in charge of putting the flags on the graves for Memorial Day. I happened to be there at the cemetery watching he and wife putting all those out, and I just wanted to say thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, I was,
Oh, sorry.
oh, that's all right. I went to a training session. Kelly, as the county treasurer, Kelly Long, is been trying to do at least annually, if not, we're gonna do twice a year, treasurers meetings. So all the treasurers from the county meet. She tries to go over anything new with us, and they are going, as Dave had mentioned, to the cloud. And she thinks it would be very beneficial for us, at least with taxes. I don't personally think so. They're totally different programs. And I don't know if the cost would be worth that there.
No.
But I am willing to take the training and watch that. But anyway, it was great. We learned a lot of different things coming up, and we're hoping that between Kelly, equalization, and all of the assessors in the county, that we will fix the address problem that we had huge last year.
Okay. Any other reports?
One report, I attended a planning and zoning conference, and that report is included in the board packet. And then is now a good time or later, and any other business to talk about the supervisor interview process?
We can bring that up under any of the. I printed that out.
Okay. Unfinished business, Lamb Road Pavilions. Yeah, one thing I was concerned about was getting this finally finished. And so I talked to Peggy just before the meeting started, and she did say she has a crew ready. And I think it's just a matter of saying, go for it. Make sure we've got the licensed electrician to check it out at the end. But I think this electrician still had to.
No, a licensed builder.
Licensed builder. Licensed builder would have to check.
We just putting the kit together.
Yeah.
The question is, can I buy cement?
New concrete.
Because I'm pretty sure that stuff is sitting there.
Do you know how much concrete?
It's the amount you need. You have to look at the instructions. It's on
I'll
there.
look at the invoice that we had from previous.
Yeah.
Purchase, which is.
Isn't there a dollar amount that's allowed without a vote? A certain amount of money that can be spent on?
Not on the.
No, it still have to be.
For the township office type things is all. So we have just the office supplies and running the building. That's special.
Well, when you have to order something like you're talking about some dirt or something, if it was under a dollar amount, then if you voted on it, you just didn't get that done.
Well, they can approve a.
You have to approve it.
Yeah.
And I can spend on that, which is what we do with the tables and the benches and stuff like that, but I can get you, I'll have to get, okay, I'll just have to call up and get.
Mhm.
Cause I don't even know how much to order, cause I don't know what's actually out there right now. Dave did all that before and
Yeah. I know it was already approved to do it, so I don't think it will be a problem just to exchange the dead bags for a new live.
Well, they're not gonna take them back.
No, I know they won't take them back, but I'm just saying.
Get them out of there.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta do that.
Process, so.
So do we need a motion to allow them to get new concrete?
Do you have a dollar figure you want
I
to
was
give
just
them?
gonna say.
$3.99 a bag. How many bags? Probably 2 bags tops per post, 4 posts.
Oh, more than that. They're more than that because the perimeter of each post had to be.
Yeah.
Mold for the footing, the.
16 inches or something.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's a big
It
piece
could
of.
be 10 bags per.
Yeah, it could be.
40 bags, so. You're probably under $200. If they're $3.99 a bag, probably 40 bags.
Plus you get the rebate if you go to Menards. You get the rebate if you go to Menards.
Okay,
On top of
I'll make a motion that we allow Peggy to pick up more bags of cement up to $200 to help with the pavilion.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
It's money.
Oh,
You gotta
no,
roll.
it's money. We have to do it. Okay.
Yep. I gotta remember to add you. Okay, Miller,
Yes,
Zelinski,
Yes.
yes, Nelson.
Yes.
and the motion passes. Yay.
I have a question.
Gotta wait to public comment. Sorry. Public comment. Gotta wait.
Referring to the pavilion, anchor bolts.
I think some of the stuff.
Yeah, anchor bolts and also,
Okay,
I think it's all, it's all there in a package. We haven't unpackaged. It's still sitting where it was left.
okay, moving on. Number 2, manner. I was gonna ask if we had a master plan, and we just got the master plan tonight, so at least we're moving in the right direction. So at this point, I think it's just a matter of us being able to go through what we've received and.
Yeah, but this is not the master plan. This is the policies and things we were creating and the control things. And I agree with you. We need to all review them, but I think that we need to have another meeting to make our changes and maybe a special meeting and also do the policies and procedures at the same time.
But didn't we turn into them, the changes that we wanted in?
I don't know if Dave did or not.
I don't think that Dave did.
He said he had him on his computer and he could make changes or something. I don't know what he's done.
Oh dear.
And I don't know that anybody. I mean,
Well, I have my
notes.
old one. Yeah, I have my old notes.
So I think we need to go back over those and maybe we should put those on hold and keep them on unfinished business until we get a new supervisor and follow up and finish that. And at that time.
Yeah, we'll just keep it on.
Yeah, so just for the board, I had asked for these items to be included because it does feel like it just keeps continue to get kicked down the road. So here's the draft from Mayor Costerison for our controls and efficiencies that was published in March. And then we had a Zoom meeting with them in April and we're in June now. So I believe the next step was to invite Bethany to give us a report here in front of the full board. But I think we all have this. This is a pretty good roadmap of things that should be addressed. For example, like bank reconciliation on internal controls and for efficiency accounts payable. I mean, that's just one of several that they recommended. So I asked for these to be on there. That way we don't lose sight as we look to have someone fill the supervisor's role. And hopefully they're mindful of not only this, but also the policies that follow this on there.
Yeah.
And one of them that comes to mind, can we move to policy? Is that okay?
Yeah,
The next
go
one.
to the next one.
Yeah, is the Earned Sick Time Act.
Yeah.
So that's one that was discussed at the board in the past. There's language on it. It's one that should really be approved. I think we're a little late with that particular policy.
So while we're on policies and procedures, if you're done, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
So I agree that these should stay on here and I'm glad that they were added on here because they do get overlooked at times. In the policies and procedures, there's some things like really Rose is correct. We should not have had Lindsay take over the jobs without having a policy in place or, so I've done some checking on that. And I'm also, I know that we're going to do an in-depth thing there, but I have been working and Rosemarie has been working on coming up with just a procedure and policies on the key things that we really need to get in place as soon as possible while we wait to get all these policies and procedures done with a new supervisor and that. And they're pretty generic that we're working on. And we will happily email them to everybody because we didn't get them printed out for this meeting. And then if you have any, you don't have to vote on it, but if you have any major concerns, you can send it back to us. But I would like to get a credit card policy because we can't use credit cards without a policy and we don't have one. We need to get the accounts payable policy done. We need to get the payroll policy done. And I'm missing one, aren't I? Today? I think accounts payable. Oh, ACH, that was the other one, ACH policy. We don't have that either. And we have been doing that for years with automatic transfers to the bank in Texas or with the federal government. We are not supposed to do that without a written policy. Because while I've been checking in all this, and Manor has included some in their thing, we have not adopted anything. I would like to just do a generic blank or, cover the basics to get us going while we get this done so that next month or at the special meeting, we can instantly take care of that.
I thought we already had a credit card policy.
Well, if we do, it's not a legal one, so. But I looked in the policy book in the office and I did not see one written in there and I don't know where they're at.
Yeah, Linda and Paul said, Rose, get a credit card.
It was voted on at a board
I
meeting.
thought we had a policy on
There was none, and there has to be one.
Huh.
There has to be one before we
Yeah.
use it. I did use it, because I used it the day before I found this letter, so just so you know, we'll get to that next. So,
that. Okay, so
So may I recommend that we add that to the agenda for July, the policies that our treasurer has suggested?
well, I would honestly prefer if we could, and this is up to Rose, because she's already got the notice done, but we only have to post things 18 hours in advance. We can put things onto that list in the notice, and I would really like to pass it there at the special meeting, if we could.
Special meeting that's set aside for the supervisor interviews.
Because it would take 5 minutes if everybody looked at it in advance, made any suggestions, and then we could vote on it at the meeting. That would be my hope, so we can get moving. Because otherwise, I don't know if we should even keep on with Lindsay doing accounts payable and payroll at this point, and we can't order anything with the credit card or pay for the classes or anything. So that's just my recommendation.
Sounds favorable to me.
mhm. So we can take care of that next week, hopefully.
Well, it's up to Rose because she has to retype the letter.
And the meeting would have to start at 10 o'clock.
Oh,
It would take 5 minutes and we can't
Well-
really change it on people at this time. Then never mind, we can wait
Change
till
what?
July. Because a lot of people have come to the door and already read that notice. And so like if we're just adding a 5-minute.
Oh, you're
thing,
talking
that's-
about
Right, so
outside
if you're changing the
people,
time,
not-
yes. So if you change the time now, even an hour earlier, that's gonna really throw it for people.
And that's if Lindsay comes in, I don't know, I'll make sure she comes, try to make sure she comes in.
And help me understand, can it not just be an agenda item that follows?
It's a special meeting.
Okay.
And with the special meeting, you
It has to be
you
posted.
have to have it posted on that notice actually becomes your agenda if there is not a full board. So we don't have a full board. We won't have a full board. We cannot add new items to that agenda
Okay.
next week. We have to do it and post it before.
So a moment ago, you suggested 10. Was that going to be an entirely different special meeting then? Or help
No.
me understand how that would have worked at 10, but not at 11?
If we wanted to discuss those policies and, because yeah, it may take 5 minutes to approve them, but what do we do if there's discussion? Somebody wants to discuss or make a change in one of those policies. It's going to take a little bit more than 5 minutes to do
Well,
that.
then if you don't want to keep the meeting at the scheduled time to do it, then I say we just wait till July and then we just don't
We
have
can
any
do-
policies and we can't maybe have, I mean, that's a board decision whether we keep Lindsay on technically not right or not, then until we get a policy in place.
And we can keep the applications, interviews for 11, but we can come in and we'll call a special meeting for policies and procedures before that.
I don't have, I can't come in at 10. That's why we scheduled for 11. Yeah, that's right.
Have to come in at a special time, just do it at the end of the meeting.
We can.
So you add it to the agenda and you put it at the last thing, so you do all your supervisor stuff. And then
And
at
then
the end, of this- then after the supervisor stuff, you
Yeah.
discuss the policies and procedures.
yeah, we could.
Again, because we don't, I mean, I don't know if we can, I don't know how that works. I don't know if we can, as a board vote and you have to do it. I don't know how that works. So I'm leaving that to you.
Special meetings don't have to vote on.
Well, to change the notice, I mean,
To add to it.
to add to it.
No, because like we've said legally, that notice doesn't have to be posted till Sunday. And this is the only place it's been, it's on the website.
But if you get a new one and give it to me, I can get it up there before you're,
Yeah.
you know, where.
Those are the only two places it's posted.
So just add it on after the interviews.
So can I just say, I make a motion that Rosemary and I continue to work on the few policies that are absolutely necessary and add it to the agenda.
I don't think you need a motion.
Okay, well, I just want to get it done.
No, because all it has to be is typed
Just
up.
add it.
Okay.
Let's share it with you guys ahead of time. We don't have to do it.
Okay, moving to number 4, parking lot and inland park ceiling quotes.
Uh,
Are we talking about parks again? I mean,
No.
There's a piece that we didn't quite finish. I just want to know where to put it.
Maybe a public comment?
Public comment at the end.
Well, there might
If you-
require a board vote.
Oh,
Well, then it needs to come, if it's not on the agenda at this point, and it's not been added here.
Well, it's
Which
about
one?
whether you're not gonna allocate the money that is needed to finish this. Because you did.
oh, no, we're gonna do that in July.
You're doing that.
Vote for that
We're
would be
gonna-
in July then?
You gotta
We're gonna put
remind me
that
of
on
what
the
to put on
agenda
the
for
agenda.
July. It's already been discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So parking lot and inland park ceiling quotes. I know David was here tonight. Did he say anything to anyone about any bids that he got? for
So
that?
he,
Okay, where is that?
Randy's.
Total.
So Trustee Miller.
Ted just brought him in to me. sorry.
Unfinished business number 4. Got it. Okay. So. This is for, I'm looking at the first page of this.
6,000 is for the building and 4,000 is for the park. Is that what we're reading?
It looks like it.
Just opposite of that, so 6,000 for.
Oh, 6,000 for the park and.
And 4,005.
And then Trustee Miller, this is another one I asked to be put on because it was spoken about at the last board meeting, but the actual quotes weren't shared. So the supervisor forwarded those 2 quotes to me that you have in your hand now.
Okay.
I had actually reached out to another local person, GT Seal Coat, that's here in Inland Township, and they did not provide any quotes. So I'm not asking for this on unfinished business to be a motion or anything, but I'm just saying I want visibility on it. That way we don't lose sight that we want some work done at the park and then here at our buildings too. So, but here are the quotes. I would be happy to entertain a motion if somebody wanted to make it. That wasn't my intent.
I think it would be nice to go ahead with this while we still have some decent weather to get something like this.
How long is this quote valid for?
Done.
Can you read the fine print? It's about payments. Does it say that it expires after?
It doesn't.
Upon approval of the estimate, a 50% deposit is required to schedule and begin work. The remaining balance will be due upon project completion. So. Upon completion.
They want half done.
Yeah.
Half it. won't
Yep.
done. An estimate. Yes.
So we can assign that job of getting quotes to the new supervisor.
We need 3, right?
Mhm.
At least.
So
So this is information only at this
Yep,
point.
it is.
Already have some.
Just one.
Moving on to new business. Supervisor salary resolution.
No, we're still got more. We
Oh,
added.
sorry. Yep. Bendon stove.
So the old stove is sitting in the middle of the kitchen at Bendon, and the new stove has yet to be hooked up.
Is it a new stove?
Yes, Dave picked up the new
Oh, he
stove.
did get
We
it.
did approve this new stove.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it has to be converted from.
It's already, that's what took the time to get the stove. And that's why it was already approved. That's why I went ahead and let Dave pay it on a credit card. So I apologize for that. I was not aware that there had to be official policy in place before we did that. So I'm gonna pay that and not do that till we get that. So we need to find somebody who can get the old stove out of there and who can hook up the new stove. I don't know what to do with the old stove. Anybody got any ideas?
You can.
I can't do anything because I'm not.
Somebody
going
can
out
take
there.
it to Padnos.
or call the junk guy and have him come pick it up.
Well, I make a motion that we figure out how to get rid of it and get the new one hooked up.
We don't need a motion to talk about it.
I'm making a motion so we can second and we can move on. Who can hook it up? Dayton, can you hook it up?
Call somebody that's certified, like Max's Service, I mean, because they're hooking up gas.
Right.
So like, we run in there and hook it up and get a gas leak, it blows up, and I go to prison,
I agree.
you know? Just call the service guy and like.
Yeah,
come in and
I
say,
can't imagine what
"Put this
the
stuff-
cost would
put it
be
in
for
there,
that, but
It shouldn't be that much, and it's, I mean, we can make a motion to call a service, but we can't put a price on it. Because we don't, every,
well, we can put it up to $750. That's my suggestion, because that's what we paid for the stove.
that's an expensive install.
Well, that way we're covered and we can.
But we don't have,
We have people waiting to use it at rentals. So, and it looks ridiculous having a stove sitting in the middle of the kitchen, 2 stoves sitting in the middle of the kitchen.
so we just make your motion for disposal of the old stove and install of the new stove.
There you go.
And that way we don't have to say, go look for somebody, just say,
Right, I make a motion that we find a licensed person qualified to hook up a gas stove and have them remove the old stove if they would. If not, find somebody who would like to dispose of the stove for us.
Support.
so you want to hook up the new stove and all away the old.
And the next question is.
Wait, we gotta,
We support it so we can discuss. So the question is who's gonna work on making these calls?
And trustee Miller, that was gonna be my question. And I looked at you. I mean, who's the who behind? We.
Yeah.
We look for something, who's the who? I think it might help better if we define that within the motion. That way, there's not so many items under unfinished and old business that continues to carry on.
That's a great idea.
We just assign somebody to do it. Rudy's not here, we can assign him to do it. You just call
I've
him.
got
and-
policies to write, so.
And I'll be happy to do it. But I just think we need to be a little bit stronger in our emotions going forward, instead of we need to do this. Who is the we behind it?
so you just volunteered to be the person. to
We
check
gotta
out.
volunteer first, so we don't
Thank
include
you.
your name in the motion.
So, and because this will cost money, we will have to do a,
Yes. And that was up to $750?
Doesn't matter what it costs, it's gotta get done.
Well, yes, but I just want to make sure I've got it right for the motion.
oh, no, she said 750 before the motion, and she was saying, that's-
Oh,
yeah, she didn't include that in the motion, $750.
Right, I did not.
okay.
And
But we
because
should
we
do
can't,
that.
We don't know what
it's,
it's gonna cost.
it's not gonna cost that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I can't imagine a service call is cheap, but I can't imagine it's gonna cost that much either, but.
No. Okay,
Just approve it no matter what. That's
It
fine.
is something that we do need to get done.
yes.
Do you want to read it back? That way we're all in agreement for
As to what the
for the
motion
sake of
says?
the minutes.
A licensed, qualified company to hook up the new stove and haul away the old one, and to haul away the old one if he basically can, or find someone who will haul away the old one, because he may not. That's true. That's why she said to add someone, to find someone who can do that.
The old one work.
No.
So, hearing the motion and having no more discussion, we call the vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
Worth, yes, Nelson.
Yes.
On to smart business.
Smart.
Smart office, but it's smart business.
Right.
Smart office, but you're fine.
But it's still a business, is it not?
It is, actually, yeah, so you're correct. So I spent too many hours re-listening to the minutes or to the meeting last month. And in the process of listening to that, I realized, and it is very poor quality to hear the audience on our system we currently have here. I think their comments are important. I think they add to the understanding of the whole meeting in general. And I think that we should strongly look at this proposal and contact the company and have them come work up a quote for us that Jim presented last month. Because what they presented was very expensive. He said they could make some cuts and do a package for us. So I would like to make a motion that we contact them and Smart Office. I will contact them and have them come meet with us or me and get a quote to get a quality system that anybody can turn on and that has complete room coverage.
Are you gonna get 2 more quotes too?
Yeah, because of the cost.
No, I'm not, but if you want to volunteer for one and we get somebody else.
You know, you got, if you're
Right.
doing the first one, you need to do all of them, because to make it exactly the same.
That's one statement of a bid to go out to several people.
This is a
You
Michigan.
just have a podium there, you gotta be able to
Michigan
speak
hired
to one, talk to it.
company that gives a Michigan rate.
Because as you can see,
Excuse
everybody
me,
just
excuse me,
talks.
please,
That's not the way it should be.
one
I know.
person talking at a time, please. Jim,
We talked last meeting, this is a Michigan approved firm. The Michigan, state of Michigan went through a bid process,
Through my deal.
in my deal, that MI is for Michigan deal. Just so it's not my deal.
But I
So
don't,
That quoting has gone through that process and we hit the Michigan discount. So it already has gone through that.
I forgot that it was part of the my
Yeah.
deal, so yes, you're absolutely right.
So it is already,
So my motion can stand.
you're okay.
and that was
I remember we
seconded.
talked about it on my deal.
That was seconded. So
seconded it?
my question, I don't know who seconded it. The motion. No one? Oh, well, we need a second before it can proceed.
So we're going to, that anyone can turn on, and it was so we could hear the public.
So that we have total
Total
room
board,
coverage.
total room coverage, that is how you put it.
Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, my comment. The thing that really floored me was having microphones in the ceiling and everything. I don't really think a room of this size that we really need that. We could ask people to speak into the microphone if we really want to, but I can't see loading
You
this.
can get a
place up.
microphone for that podium.
I considered that, Mary, but if you remember back to this whole meeting that we've had, how many conversations have gone back and forth between the
I know.
audience and back and forth with us and the audience, even though that isn't really how it should be,
No.
but we allow that to happen all the time.
They should come up to the podium and do it.
Right?
So
So this back and forth conversation isn't gonna, everybody's not gonna jump up to go to the stand. So
If they want to say something, they could come up. to the
And that's
podium.
what some
Or-
townships do, is that if you don't come up to the podium, you don't talk.
Or if it's a movable microphone, you can pass the microphone if somebody is not physically able to come to the microphone. But I can't see spending a bunch of money to put microphones all over the ceiling. I just don't.
we don't know what the cost is and we don't know that we can
Well-
hook up a microphone into this system. I'm not sure
That
that we
was,
can.
that was part of the package though that Jim put together.
No, but I
had-
mean, what to our current system, we
Oh.
don't know that we can put a microphone into that.
No, I don't know either, but that's one of my concerns.
Fair?
So. Okay, any other conversation? So we need to vote?
So we're just gonna have them come out and give us a quote.
Yep. So the motion is, read the motion one more time, please.
Contacts the treasurer. She added herself. The treasurer will contact Smart Office to meet with them and give a quote on a quality system that anyone can turn on, and we'll have total room coverage.
Thank you. Okay. So that doesn't take many. So all in favor?
Aye.
All the same? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, email.
So this was actually my mistake. So last board meeting, when I discussed the emails expiring and needing to get a new company, I stated my proposal. And then there was so much conversation, then Jim corrected it. And when he corrected it, he did not correct it to my current one or my original one. I did not catch it in the vote. I caught it re-listening. And so my motion was to use either Munibit or Intercom. The minutes say Munibit, but I went with Intercom. So I need to get that corrected somehow.
Well, it said with that Intercom.
No, it says,
Intercom is
yeah.
the administrator of it.
But Intercom does not mean an administrator, it's ran completely through Intercom, not running through.
Right.
It's
right.
Yes.
And so
Intercom, I chose Intercom, because I just felt I chose Intercom after speaking with both. It was the same price for both of them to manage it. I just felt that because they're controlling our server, they were the quickest to respond back to me. They answered all of my questions, how I hoped them to. And I like the fact that they're local, because when we had the issues with the email going down, there's somebody who can come here immediately and help us fix them. So I would like to modify that motion.
But no, just make a motion for what we want.
Okay,
I can't modify
okay.
that because it's already been taken care of.
I would like to make a motion to change the email providers for the township from Unibit to Intercom.
I'll second.
And there is money, so you have to vote.
Yes.
Any conversation about that? Any discussion?
No, makes sense.
Okay, call the vote, please.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
yes.
So with this email change, the one thing I didn't really consider thinking about is we approved to add the emails did we approve emails for the trustees?
I think so.
Okay, because each new additional email we create costs money. So I just wanted to make sure that was approved. And then I would like to add, because I don't think we approved an email for the website. So I would like to approve an email for the website. And then I'd also like to get approved an email for accounts payable. Lindsay asked for an accounts payable email. I don't know that we need that, though. You
Yeah,
don't think
because
we
she
need
wanted
that?
all of her stuff emailed to her. She
Yeah.
wanted all my.
Payrolls and
Right.
everything.
So
So
she
we
got
said
an
it.
email
Right.
to her,
We-
so
we-
she should have an email for that.
We talked about things today. Then that's what that was. And because well, when we get down to number 8 in new business, I'll explain that.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we provide an email with website at inlandtownship.org and one for accounts payable at inlandtownship.org. Yeah. Oh. Is that what you
Inland
want?
Township, inlandtownship.org, and what was the other thing you said?
Accounts payable.
Oh,
And
accounts payable.
do you want it, Webmaster?
Doesn't matter to me.
Because a lot
I
of
might
people,
not be
a lot of
able to
people,
tomorrow.
a lot of people see that
Okay,
webmaster as, what do you want? Just.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. because-
I don't think we need an accounts payable. I think it needs to be on.
we need to get a second and then we can discuss, right? Did we get a second?
Well,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
discussing.
We'll stop them.
Yes, we'll stop them.
That's,
Yeah, We need it up here. Yes, it was seconded, was it not?
No, it was not.
Oh, it was not.
So it basically died when all the conversations started. But I move to approve getting a website, webmaster email, and a deputy clerk. No, a deputy clerk email address. For purposes of mailing information to.
So would that be covered under what Trace just said?
No, that she's totally changed what I said.
But we need a webmaster address, email. So,
Website, because we can decide what.
so that the person working the website can answer emails without having to go through your personal email.
Same reason why we don't want to have the deputy clerk getting accounts payable and other things too, and that's the last conversation I had with her. Because the deputy clerk is somebody you appoint and you can
Right.
release at any time.
And that's
But
why I
accounts
stopped.
payable and payroll is an employee position for the township. And so that should be separate, totally separate from the deputy position. So she
So I
needs to have that account.
Don't think it should be called accounts payable or payroll, but maybe a different one that would include both of them in it as an employee email address.
Account clerk.
We can just call it receiving,
account clerk.
receiving. So she's receiving bills, she's receiving notices, whatever. We can come up with a name, but I don't think it should be the deputy clerk.
Right, that's why I stopped there.
When I asked Lindsay, she said she would like it to be accounts payable, but we can discuss and change the name. But I would just like to get the approval to create an email for Lindsay Miller for accounts payable and payroll, her choosing of the name, and for Rosemarie Sword out for the website contacts, and she can choose the name.
I'm lost with this motion.
For
I'm
the
waiting
others-
for it to be read back.
Do you want me to read it back?
You guys need a second.
Yeah, we do. I can't second because I'm
It's an email
lost.
for the website and an email for accounts payable,
I've got it written down.
basically. It's money, so we have
Can
to.
you second it? Thank you.
So email for website for Rosemarie
And Lindsay,
and for Lindsay for APs and PR, accounts payable and payroll.
correct?
Trace?
Correct.
Okay.
They choose their names. If they want.
This is money.
Yeah, this is money. Go again, call the roll.
Miller?
Yes.
Zelinski?
Yes.
Worthing? Yes, Nelson?
Yes.
Okay, new business.
Okay, this is gonna have to be tabled until next month because I wanted to keep it on there because the supervisor has to declare this resolution. We do not have a supervisor and I do not have that authority to declare a resolution adopted.
Okay, so number 1 and 2 have to be
So
put on
these will
till.
be covered at the next board meeting.
You don't have to have a resolution to do a salary. You can do it by policy from what I read in MTA, but that's fine. You can table it as long as you keep wanting to.
What's
It's
our
fine.
policy?
You can make a policy
You
for
have-
what the salaries is. I didn't look into it because I thought we were doing this, but that's fine.
We can make it per policy instead of per resolution.
But it's fine. Just move it to the next one.
Well, if we have a policy, I want to make it right.
I always thought that the salaries always had to be done by resolution.
You don't have to from what I read, but it's totally fine. You can do it by policy, but in your policy should be numbered as well too, but let's just leave them there because we don't have a supervisor.
So we'll table this until the
They'll be
July.
put on.
July.
Number 3, annual calendar for 26-27 fiscal budget.
So that's the item I asked to be added on. Our previous supervisor had worked with the finance committee on developing a milestone of dates for the purpose of building the following year's budget, so 26-27 budget, and making sure that we are meeting some timelines to help build a better budget, as well as not run up against the wall in the 11th hour and try to have a budget approved. So here is the dates that the previous supervisor had worked with the finance committee on. I would suggest, though, after looking at it again, for the ones that require special meeting, maybe we just put the date and time to be determined. So I don't know that it's necessary today to choose a particular date and time for the special meeting, but just have special meeting on there. That way we cover off that topic as a board with the finance committee. So that's the purpose of this calendar. And I believe there's one hanging or was hanging in the supervisor's office. So it's something I wanted to get in front of the full board because when we have a supervisor in place, that will be their supervisor's responsibility to ensure that we're meeting these timelines.
Okay. Direct mail.
That is also mine. So just a little background on the direct mail. The special use permit that went in front of the planning commission a meeting ago was required to, because of the special use permit, to contact all adjoining and neighboring landowners. And the board did that, or the planning commission did it. That was completely done. However, there is the mobile home park on 31 that, while they're not landowners, they were people that could be potentially affected by the decision of planning commission and or the board. Our previous supervisor looked into, are there other ways to send out mailers? That way we can be more inclusive of someone who may be impacted by a decision like that. So what you have in front of you is some quotes, or a quote from a potential company in Traverse City. So it just gives you a ballpark. There's no ask for a motion or anything, but it just gives you a ballpark of what it would cost if you sent a card out to every resident within Inland Township. So if we didn't want to send it to every resident and we had a certain geographical area, like including the mobile home park in that example, they would be able to do that. So it is just something I think the board might want to consider going forward if something like that comes again, or maybe special mailers or a third-party company might be something that we would want to entertain anyways. Because postage is going to be postage. Printing is going to be printing. There's just a couple other extra costs in there. So again, no ask other than just making the board aware of some work this previous supervisor had done and shared with me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
5, building and maintenance, park building facial.
Yet again, Trustee Miller, this is another agenda item I asked to be included. So we have this work that was done by an inspector in December of 2024 that lays out some areas that the board should address. And one of them, marked as needs work is the fascia, which is that overhang out front there. And so fast forward to today in June, the fascia has completely fallen off. The soffit's open. There's birds inside of there. And it's something that this board member feels like, we should take action when we have things like this, you know, and not let it get worse. It's much easier, just think about it this way. It's a lot easier to cross a river where it begins versus downstream where the current picks up and the river gets wider and all that. So we have this. And so, you know, I just think that it's something that we should be mindful of and take action. Again, this is more a call out to our prospective supervisor. So when I say we, I am using that as, I think this is something that the next supervisor's got to get in front of them or on their agenda to take care of it. And then along with that, just as an example, is the picture that I included of the current Inland Township Park sign that is in much disrepair.
Yeah.
And it's something that has been talked about along with the benches for nearly every meeting. And then I took an opposing picture of a park that's 3 miles away and what that sign looks like. And I just want, so we have financially, this township is very fortunate. We have a budget that was approved by the board in December that was inclusive of this. So I would just like the board to maybe get in the habit of taking action on things like this. And again, just to call out to any prospective supervisors out there that we may interview next week, that this is some action that we need to take care of, because we see fascia in one picture where it's loose and we can literally walk outside now and it's completely gone. So
I think the fascia should be addressed right now if we could get 3 bids to get the fascia repaired, because that seems like a danger to me, right? Like birds are building nests inside of there and the wires and everything chewing on them.
There's cables out there that ran in that fascia for
Cameras
and everything, and squirrels have been up there, birds. And next thing you know, I see these squirrels and there's power, and next thing you know, it's all been touching metal.
So do you know, would Menards do something like that?
No,
They don't.
They don't.
what I have here from Critter Control is their certified wildlife specialists. They'll come out here and they will inspect what we have and schedule a time to come out and take care of the problem creatures. But because we don't have we only have a check, it's $2.99. Credit cards were $1.99. I need it. So $2.99, they'll come out here and this will be applied to the cost of what it is to remove what's in there.
That's just to remove the animals. That's not gonna fix the problem. So we don't.
No,
fix the problem,
but
they're just
if we
gonna
have
come back.
animals in there, but I don't think the builder is gonna go in and pull the animals out.
They get them out of there.
If it's just squirrels, they're right there. They're probably gonna be gone by the time.
And they're birds, so there was that option too, but yeah, I think fascia and roof need to be taken care of. And it's usually done probably all at one time.
I move that we contact Critter Control.
Oh, what? Oh, no. They're not the builders. They're just come out and remove animals.
Well, I was gonna have them come out and remove the animals.
I think the birds are gone. I haven't heard of
Every time you come up there and it's no sense.
You're not gonna pay some,
They're
yeah.
gonna come back in
until we get the fascia fixed.
Can remove the birds.
You wanna pay
Oh.
them $2.99 a day to take the birds out?
Yeah, I wanna pay $2.99, I'll volunteer.
So the builder.
We need to find a builder.
We need to find 3
All that
builders.
time needs to come down and be done, because now there's.
The siding and the roof,
and all that
everything
stuff,
that's-
all that needs to be taken down and replaced.
Reality is.
No. I think didn't the whole thing need to be redone anyway, as far as the fascia?
Yeah, there was
and-
fascia
and parts of the
on
roof.
one of the gable ends as well.
So, yeah.
There's this piece that is now completely missing. There's this on the gable end with missing soffit as well.
And there's stuff
Here's
up
what
in
I'm
there.
pointing towards for the sake of the audience.
So it would most likely be a roofer that you would contact, right, to fix that?
Roofing and siding generally goes hand in hand.
If I may, I would have you guys, think about making a motion to have a builder come out and give a quote on the things that need to be repaired according to his costs. Builder can do roofing and siding and all that.
We can do a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah, and/or subcontract.
Anybody know a good builder that we could contact?
You can have a new supervisor in what, 10 days, not less than 10 days? I would just do that.
We're dumping an awful lot on a new person.
That's what they have paid for.
But I'm not sure that we should, I mean, Dayton, what do you think? Should we,
Whatever the board thinks.
because we're like, that is a lot on the new, and they have to get their footing in the job as well, and.
Well, it's just contacting the company and.
3 different people, tell them to come out here and meet
It's
them.
not,
You're volunteering?
You're on the building committee?
it's a building committee.
We're just making a new committee.
Yeah, I know. But I've been trying to. Okay, I'm fine. Let's move it on. That's,
MTA membership. I know we've been in this for a long time, and I think we've always had the highest. What's the thing?
First year we paid premium pass.
Yeah, premium, that's what we're talking about. Is that what we would like to do for this year also? I would think we would. We do a
Is
lot of
anyone
things
using
with
it?
MTA.
I use it all the time.
I know I use it.
So, what is the cost for our renewal if we keep the one that we have now?
2262.36 plus 1900.
Say that again,
2262.36 plus 1900.
Okay, so it's a total of 4,162.36. Okay, I move that we renew our MTA membership for a total of 4,162.36 for this year. Is there a second?
One second.
Discussion?
I think it's a good thing.
Okay, go ahead and call it, Rose.
Miller?
Yes.
Zelinski?
Yes.
Yes. Nelson?
Yes.
Items for disposal.
We need to add the file
And you
cabinet.
have to add the file cabinet.
So you're talking about all the stuff that's right back here and the file cabinet? Is that right?
Yes.
And we can throw it away or take money for it.
It's pretty bent up and it doesn't lock. So, and some of the drawers, even with it done there, it's pretty hard to open. So
If they offer us a quarter, we can do that.
Sounds
So
good to me.
what, you know,
so we can put it out at the road. 25 cents or free. I mean, I don't know how you plan to sell it. It's certainly not worth putting an ad in the paper.
no, it's not.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know if we want to put it on the website, say there's items that you can go see on these days. If you want them, please make an offer, or put them in the parking lot and say, make an offer. I don't know. But, or if you just say, let's throw it all out.
Could the metal go in recycling?
Yes, I believe we can take that to like Padnos. And we get a couple dollars for it.
But the rest of the stuff, I'd think we could just leave it out by the road and put it free.
Well, I don't think people are gonna take a typewriter or masks. Max is a mask, so
I
I think.
think Lindsay was talking about the computers. If we went ahead and did what she was gonna look at, I don't know if she looked at the internal stuff yet, but.
I didn't know there was a,
It,
that was newly added, computer monitor.
an old one, yeah, did she put it on there? Yeah, yeah, that'll, hazardous waste.
Is that a laptop from the township?
No, that's one of the old desktops we had. Oh, that was.
I thought there were certain procedures you had to follow with
With
getting rid of
computers?
computer.
Oh, no, we just have to have, Jordan come in and wipe the hard drive.
Did you do that?
No, I have, once it's approved, I can have him do that. But yes,
That's gonna cost money, so that's gonna need a vote.
if I just take it in
What
to
if
him,
you
it
just
might not
shoot it?
cost anything. Or we can just shoot it. yes.
Where'd those people go? We could have sent it over them.
I mean, does that kill a computer? I don't know.
Certain things are still recoverable. I just say, let's make a motion that we dispose of the plastic things, the typewriter, I'll go down,
Say numbers.
okay, I'll make a motion that we get rid of number 2, number 3, no, that can go to Goodwill. Number 4, number 5.
7.
6.
6, 7 is the.
It's
what's
a
it?
big tape dispenser. It's for
Okay,
other.
7.
It's number 8. I don't even know what that is.
It's electronic. So we.
Yeah, I say we just dispose of those items. I say, can we donate to Goodwill?
Yeah,
Or
you don't
to-
get money for it.
Well, I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, okay, so then, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, we throw in the trash.
Throw in trash.
I say 1, 3, 8. I'm sorry, what did you say 9 was?
That plastic stuff right there?
Oh, I'm sorry, add that to the garbage. Oh, wait, no, we'll take that to Goodwill, I guess. So 1, 3, 8, 9. You guys can. And 14.
Well, let's throw 14 away. Their arms to those chairs.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep,
Trash.
14 trash.
14 in the trash.
I'm circling trash, okay. I think like the computer, the monitor, the keyboard, is there any place that we can take them to the recycle event? Yeah, because otherwise.
Who does?
Cadmus, they're the, yeah.
Or we could take them to when they have the Benzie County Recycle Day.
Yes.
Okay, so we're put recycle for them.
Okay, so 1, 3, 8, and 9 is Goodwill
1, 3, 8, and 9.
Yeah, donate
to,
Goodwill.
or whatever. I'll put donate.
to the one that gives to animals on Garfield.
And what about the security drop box? That's another
Well,
medical.
I think but the security drop box is in fine shape. Like, I think that we could put that on the website for a month and take an offer, because I would think like a school or somebody might want that. Or Facebook Marketplace, yeah.
Whatever, even Facebook.
Because that just seems like a waste to me to throw away.
Can't get that at Facebook. It's township property, it's gonna go up for bid.
Oh.
Sealed bid, I believe.
Can we put a sealed bid on the website front homepage for a month?
And can that go because, didn't the state of Michigan pay for that? Because it wasn't that for election.
Right, the township,
Same way with the chainsaw.
No, Dave bought the chain stuff to block off the election.
no, they did not.
Those orange, those yellow plastic things?
They came with the elections. But the elections, the state of Michigan has replaced those drop boxes with drop boxes that actually work. There's not a disposal I will double check, but I believe what we're doing is proper because we are going through for that type of disposal, because it's not any electronic, election equipment or anything like that. If we go ahead and approve the way we're donating here with this stipulation that we check for making sure that they can be disposed of this way for those two items. Yes,
For the security box and what other item?
the chain link. I'll double check, but though, because there's no electronics involved in that. And nothing that has to be returned to the state of Michigan.
All right, and then I say we stick the file cabinet in the parking lot with a free sign on it. Maybe somebody would take it. I don't know how else to get rid of it. Any ideas?
None.
Come and get it with the truck.
Okay, cool.
You can recycle them? Okay.
2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, throw in trash. 1, 3, 8, 9, donate. The rest, I can drop it in the car and take it on Wednesday.
Take the file cabinet to donation?
I'm gonna take the file cabinet to Pedro's.
Metal stuff.
Okay.
So if that's 1, 2,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that leaves 10, 11, 12, 13.
The security Dropbox, that's the.
Oh, yeah. Security
So that you
Dropbox.
were gonna check on.
Right, but if she takes that, she can take that to Padnos too, because
Okay.
it's metal.
Okay. And then if they're gonna recycle, you might as well just take all of them, the computer, the monitor, and the keyboard. I'm fine with that.
Cool.
Okay.
13, 14, 15, and well, 10 through 15.
Yeah, just take.
Minus
the recycle.
14.
Once you get the approval. Okay.
13,
So
15.
that's everything.
That is.
Make a motion that we do with the list as we said.
I'll second that.
You want each item typed out individually?
Yeah.
No, I would just maybe say recycle, monitor, keyboard, list them that way and
Yeah.
pitch these, donate, however, maybe.
Okay,
If
so
there's ever any question of what we did with them, we probably should have record.
this does require a roll call.
Go for it.
Okay. Miller?
Yes.
Zelinski?
Yes.
Yes, Nelson?
Yes.
I will pull the hard drive out of that computer.
Oh, you will?
So then she can.
Just come get in one trip.
She can.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
All right,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay, 8, deputy clerk laptop.
Okay, we talked about this last month, her and I, but, this is so she can, if need be, she'll work from home because we don't know what the new supervisor, if the new supervisor's gonna want that little space in there. She was concerned about that, different things, and then she can do trainings and stuff. She can do that at home. Yes, she does have to come into the office to print checks. But it would be a benefit for her to have it.
I make a motion that but I think the only thing, I agree 100%, and I've already actually asked them to have a laptop ready for her, so it should be ready in days.
Well, yeah, I know, and I found out about that, and they were gonna bring it over, and I said, no, you're not.
I told her.
Till after the board.
Right.
Oh,
So, but I do think that we need to stipulate, like, is this a deputy clerk laptop that she's gonna do able to do accounts payable and payroll on it as well? Is this going to be
Correct.
accounts payable and?
Yeah.
Because if let's say you don't want her as your deputy anymore, but she's still gonna do accounts payable and
then we have to,
give her back the lap. That's the only concern.
right.
Do we have a dollar amount? for
Yes, it should be under $700.
He didn't send me the paper. I told him I needed it, and he didn't send it, so I just we didn't have the one
I
for
have the bill for Rosemary's. It's
the clerk, it's the same price.
and I did get a case for it as well, and it still came under that. So I make a motion that we get the deputy clerk a laptop that she can also use as accounts payable and payroll with a bag, not to exceed $700.
I'll support.
Discussion? Hearing none, when you're ready, George, you can do it.
Okay. Miller,
Yes.
Zelinski,
Yes.
yes, Nelson,
Yes.
Rose?
Well, I had a question about that. I mean, I'm not sure why the deputy clerk needs a laptop. I mean, I don't have a laptop being deputy treasurer, because if I'm the deputy treasurer, I'm here when she's not here. I'm not here at the same time unless I'm training. And then obviously I can just look over her shoulder at the computer at that point. So I don't, as a deputy treasurer, I mean, I guess I could sit at home and do tax payments, but as deputy, I should just be coming in when she's not here. And the deputy, if the deputy treasurer was getting paid, that's the deputy's, my understanding, that's when the deputy can get paid and be here. I couldn't be here just on a normal day that Teresa's office hours are, if she's in the office, and also get paid just for being here. The deputies are only to be paid and be here if the clerk or the treasurer is not here.
Yeah, I understand that, but I also thought it was because we wanted to be able to put Lindsay on there for accounts payable.
Well, then it's an accounts payable person's computer. So if
Right.
Lindsay's no longer the accounts payable and Dayton now is the accounts payable.
Right, and it
when
would belong-
it's moved to Dayton,
Right.
Lindsay can still stay Rose's deputy, but she doesn't need a computer. She's gonna use Rose's when Rose isn't here, and she's covering Rose's office hours. This is how I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, I have one as the website person. So if I'm going to come in here and work and do.
so we need to remove the word deputy from that motion.
Yes, it should be your
So
account.
we will make a new motion. Yeah, so we have to make a new motion to rescind the previous motion. And by removing the word deputy.
Why don't you just make it an extra computer, an extra laptop for us, and then anyone that really needs to use it. I'll be password protected. You can have multiple users on one laptop with their own passwords to get in.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's not gonna work, because I'm at home doing the website, and she's gonna wanna do. accounts
She wants to-
payable At the same time I'm doing the website, we can't, I'm not gonna get it to her, you know what I'm saying?
So,
Well, I agree with what,
Take off
yeah, just
deputy.
take off deputy clerk
Yeah.
or change the motion, because the deputy clerk can't be on her laptop when the clerk is on anyway. So she won't be using it for
So,
clerk
Yeah,
duties
so,
anyway,
so
really.
restate the motion.
we move to rescind the previous motion and purchase a laptop for accounts payable and payroll purposes with a bag not to exceed $700 only. I put the only in the wrong spot.
So everything's the same.
I move to rescind the previous motion, removing the word
Rescind it.
deputy. Okay, so move to rescind, okay, there we go. There we are, I move to rescind the previous motion, that's it.
Support.
It's still, yeah, it's still doing money. So
No.
do we have to?
No, it's not money. Because we're rescinding the motion. So just say A.
Okay.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same?
Okay. Therese, now you can make the motion.
I make a motion that we purchase a laptop for accounts payable / payroll. And a bag for the laptop, not to exceed $700.
What you see, right?
You're fine.
I second.
Now we'll. Miller,
Yes.
Mary did.
Okay.
Zelinski,
Yes.
yes, they,
Ted.
And then I make a motion that we have a 5-minute restroom break.
Yes.
And not long.
Yep. I call a recess for 5 minutes. We will, well, 7 minutes. We'll resume at 8:45.
recess at 8:37.
I don't know if I can wait.
Who's the other one?
Huh?
Who's the other one?
No, I thought we have to vote, don't we, to make a,
No, I just called a recess.
oh, okay.
Go.
I thought we had to vote.
Yes.
Thank you. Guess he's only been twice.
I'm not gonna make my rehearsal tonight.
We're over at, high school. What are you doing there?
Leadership practice.
Oh, it's at the high school. I didn't know it was at the high school.
7 to 9.
The zoning says you gotta have. Square footage, right, like Dollar General had to have so many parking spots. So if this guy's doing business. And next to do it all. There's only 5 parking spots. And where are all these patrons that are gonna go to this place? Where it's gonna be a establishment. Yeah.
Isn't there parking available and they're gonna put a parking lot in the back, I thought? Well, there's a driveway to go. Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's the whole.
Yeah, they didn't do it the right way, yeah.
Right, it was not done right, and we have so many parking spots.
True.
In the zoning.
True.
And right now,
Help you out going forward. I'll turn this down.
Whatever. Well, she did a building permit and wanted stuff removed, and I
Maybe
said,
we're gonna submit it. Is everybody back? Okay. Since everyone is back, I'm going to say that we are back in session at 8:40. So we are on number 9, which is the draft audit report.
I think we just have to read that. And
Yeah, we can do a couple things. We can go through it, have a special meeting to say, okay, we're all good with it and send it off. Or we can wait till next month and do the same thing. But, I would like to have the auditor come next month after if we do get this approved and printed, and to have them come and explain this to us.
Do we have a copy for the
It's a draft. And we're gonna get copies of the whole audit. But if we have a special meeting, there'll be copies for this at the special meeting. Or if we discuss it at next month's meeting, there'll be copies for everybody.
Well, we could put it again at the end, next week, after all the interviews and whatnot.
No, I
but
think that's
I'm-
gonna be
I'm
a long
thinking-
time.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be too long.
Because I'm not sure, reading it, you know, we'll all understand and go, okay, it all looks good to me. What are we gonna know? But we do need to let them know that we all agree that this looks good before they will actually print the final copy.
So they're not coming. Right?
That's what we also have to meet, and if we would like them to, then we need, as a board, we need to approve them coming in. To come in and talk to us.
That'd be great. I've never seen anybody come in before.
No, I've never even seen a draft before. I got this and I'm like, what is this? This is weird. I've never seen journal entries either.
Did they put journal entries in there?
Yeah. No, I've got them sitting on my desk. I'll make copies of those too.
So when could this person come in?
Well, that's
What
up
did
to,
they say?
that's up to us if we want them to come in next month.
What do you think?
So what do you guys, I mean, what do you want to do? You want a special meet? Do you want to wait till next month and have them come in August?
I think we should wait until next month. We've got a lot of things on our plate between now and next month's meeting. So, if we're gonna wait until next month, do we tell them that, to print things out for us and?
No, we have to, none of us have seen it. Right. We have to look through it before we can tell them to print it off. If we wait till next month to tell them to print it off at our board meeting, we wait till next month, I guess.
Not understanding, when do we get to look at it then?
When we, as a board, tell them that we would like them to print us a finalized copy.
So Rose, is the recommendation to ask this firm to come in and present to the board and audit?
Well, I think that's probably what we would all like, because we've never had the auditor come in and speak to us.
So then we just need to be mindful that whenever the agenda items due to you, the clerk, we just need to make sure that that's on the agenda. But also reach out to this firm to let them know July 4th. And that might not
The
work for
first-
them, but to let them know as soon as possible.
The first thing we need to do is to approve the draft. Which is weird, but.
Only approve the draft so that they can do it finalized.
Yeah, so if we don't, if there, which probably there will be no changes because.
Can't you just approve to have them come in and present the draft to you?
Yeah, I can't approve a draft if I haven't seen it. So will they?
So it wants you to review the draft at your earliest convenience and let us know if you have any questions or comments. They'll clarify those things. They'll clarify our questions and comments on the final, according to this letter,
Where's the draft at?
in the mailboxes.
Is each of their mailboxes right now?
Yes, because I was waiting to see if they wanted to do a special meeting to go through the draft before I printed out 50 copies of a
Okay, so,
72-page thing.
so the draft is in our mailboxes.
Yes, and
Okay, so
based on what you want to do, I will print out copies for the public that will be available.
Why don't we add this to the special meeting, because we can do that after the other two things. So that we can, at least that gives us a few days to read it, to make an opinion, and then we can say, yes, we approve this, let's do the final one and schedule a meeting.
That sounds like a motion.
Well, it's not really a motion. We're saying that we want to put that on the other special notice.
on a special meeting.
Yes. That's when we'll make the motion to have them come in.
Okay, so we'll look at the draft and have comments ready for next Monday's meeting and then decide whether or not we want.
If you want to make any changes on it and that.
So read
How are you
the
gonna know
draft.
what changes you're gonna want without talking to the auditor?
This is, yeah.
We just have, if we have questions or comments, then they'll clarify them when we do, based on, it says, we're happy to clarify any of the contents or make edits based on your feedback.
But if you have questions and comments, you can't tell them to finalize it because then it's done.
Well, this, according to the letter,
Finalized.
That's what she said.
that's what it says in here. Also, after addressing these items, printed, have it signed and board a signed copy. Okay, we can begin printing and binding the reports as soon as we receive your final acceptance. So we have to accept the draft. And because we didn't have time to read it,
You will read the drafts if you have a question and reach
Then-
out.
and then we reach out to them and then, yes. We bring the questions back on Monday. If we have questions, then we contact them and they take care of those questions and then they can go from there. But I'm just reading it based on what this letter says.
So it sounds like we can make a decision whether or not we want to keep that draft on Monday and make the decision whether or not we want to go ahead with them then. Correct? But that doesn't take a motion from us now, does it, to just read it through and have?
No, because I'll do like I'm gonna do with the resumes. I'll make copies. And they'll get posted, it'll all get posted on the website. And it'll all be heard.
Okay. So read that over. That's our homework for Monday. More homework.
I mean, I didn't know this was coming up.
Questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Dropbox.
So our drop box out in the parking lot is no longer sealing, and with tax payments coming up and many people use that drop box for that. And so it no longer locks, the door won't hold up. Dave has tried to bend it back in place. That's not waterproof. Yeah, so Dave's tried to bend it back into place. It stayed for a few, and then Mike tried. And so really, I think we need to get a new drop box. And I have no idea what they cost. I do know that Green Lake has an incredibly nice one for their people. And I took a picture and I sent it to send it in a text to Dave, and I can't find it for some reason. But I would like to make a motion that we replace the drop box. And Rose, you might have an idea what a drop box costs?
No, because it's just like the election. Was they ranged from, they've gone up to several thousands of dollars for one, so it just depends on what one we gotta get.
No idea. Hang on, I'm gonna Google it.
But I don't think we could. Sure, it'll be a couple $1,000 because you want a sturdy one.
Right.
We should just make a hole in the wall that goes directly into your office. We don't need a third drop box, because this will be at least our third drop box.
That was the original, when Marilyn was here, she put that thing in there.
Well, I don't think that was the first one.
All right, well, can we say $3,500? I'm not finding any.
That sounds like a good
And
price.
then if it's more than that, I'll bring it back. But I do really would like it to be ordered in here before tax season starts. So I would like to make a motion that we.
Up to how much?
Up to $3,500.
Here's one for New Line for $345.
That's amended in out there. How's that in there?
It's bolted.
Bolted, okay. So we should be able to just bolt a new one.
So that was your motion?
Yeah.
To, look for a
Purchase a
drop.
new- up to
purchase a new
3,500.
Dropbox up to 3,500. Was there a second?
Or, got it.
Discussion, I think we've already done, so out of order. So want to poll that, Rose?
Yeah. Nelson?
Yes.
Worth? Yes. Zelinski?
Yes.
Wheeler?
Yes.
You're Zelensky now?
Yeah, I'm Zelinski now.
That's right.
Okay, 11, BSNA and payroll. Do I have number 11?
Oh, yeah, I did add that, BSNA and, yeah,
And
why am
payroll.
I not even seeing it on mine? So I would like to make a motion that if we need to, Rose says we need to make a motion to remove people from BSNA programs. So I would like to make a motion that we remove Rose Worth from the payroll program as we
Since
discussed.
it's already been done.
Yeah, but you said, did you hear Jim? He said you have 1 month to correct it with a vote, so. So I would make we haven't got to discussion yet. So I would make a motion that we remove Rose Worth from the payroll program as we discussed previously, if it was legal to do. We listened to a meeting, or we voted at the meeting to remove Rose from the payroll program. If it was legal, I called MTA, they said it is legal. Nobody has to have access to a program at all. Nobody, it's something that we as a township voted to purchase for everybody's use. There's nothing that requires us to have a program. There's nothing that requires anybody to have access to said program. It's a board decision. We made the motion to remove her from it so that, to address other concerns, and we voted yes to do that if it was legal, so.
Yep. Is there a second to the motion? Hearing none, motion fails. Any other business to come before the board?
I
have something too.
Go ahead, Ted.
So I had asked earlier about the interview process, and I was told this would be a good time. So I just want to go over kind of the nuts and bolts of the interviewing process, or at least just share it with the board of kind of how I see it going forward. That way we're kind of all on the same page. So tomorrow, June 10th, all the resumes are due to the clerk by 3 p.m. I would recommend that after 3 p.m., a board member, and I'll volunteer to do it, to contact each of the candidates and advise them of the special meeting posted for June 16th at 11 a.m. For the purpose of supervisor interviews. So that's the timing. So the process, I would recommend when we actually have the special meeting and the candidates are all in the special meeting, that there's one of two ways that we could possibly go. There might be others, but one of two ways. One is ask potential candidates to voluntarily agree to step out of the boardroom, both physically and live stream, to respectfully allow the other candidates an individual interview with the board and public. So that would be one recommendation. We could ask the candidates, it's an open meeting, it's a special open meeting, so we cannot sequester or ask anyone that, can't be there, but we can ask them to voluntarily step out. That'd be up to them. So if that doesn't work, then the other opportunity or the other way we could run this process would be interview all the candidates together, yet rotate questions to ensure a level of fairness. And this actually, when I spoke to the MTA Answer Center last week, this is what they support. So below that, I would say, let's just assume we have 4 candidates and we're the 4 candidates, that we would place each of the candidates' name in a hat and then randomly draw a name to answer the question first. That way it's random. And then we would, after the first question's answered, then we could draw another name out for the person to ask the second question. Assuming we have 4 candidates, again, the 4 of us. So candidate A is asked question number 1, then followed by candidate B, then C, then D. So each of those candidates, if they were in the room together, would hear each of the subsequent or previous answers. So then candidate B would be asked question number 2, followed by C, then D, then A. Henceforth, candidate C would be asked question number 3, followed by D, who follows him or her, A and B, and candidate D, assuming there's 4, is asked question number 4, followed by A, B, and C. So that way there's some sort of a rotation and one person, so I'm not always asked first or I'm not always asked last, and I get the benefit of hearing everyone's answers that preceded. So I did take the liberty of putting together some questions. So I have put together a questionnaire with focus on strategic and operational leadership, communications, and integrity. And those are all areas that I think as a board that we would really benefit by a good, strong supervisor going forward in those areas. So I drafted questions that revolve around those. And each candidate would be asked those questions. All candidates ask the same question. Board members would record answers as candidates are answering. Board members will deliberate after all the questions have been asked and all the candidates have been afforded an opportunity to answer. And then motion or motions, depending, would be made, supported, and passed. And then after that, the candidate would be appointed to fill the open supervisor's role. So I just put that out there that we have, and I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but I'm saying it's a process that at least we have something going forward. And if we want to talk about a different way of going about it, then we can do that. But I'm mindful of 2 things: being fair and unbiased, and then just following a process that way it treats each candidate fairly with the same set of questions. And each candidate does need to be asked the same set of questions to be legal. So
I like the suggestion of having candidates volunteer to leave the room, because I think when everyone is sitting there together, if you're the 4th person and you're listening to 3 other people's suggestions, and you're watching the response of the board as you're hearing these responses, I think it would be better if we could do it one-on-one if the candidates would volunteer to leave the room. If not, then I do like the idea of just rotating. You start with A, then you go to B, then you go to C, so that one person doesn't end up always being first, or like you say, always being last. Yeah, and I like the questions that you've put together. And each candidate will have prior knowledge of these questions, or?
I think that.
I don't think so.
Are they in the board packet?
You just I emailed them as a do.
Okay. So.
And then so are we done with discussion on that? Does that sound good to everyone? The other thing that I would say is that I recognize from last summer, the meeting time starting at 6 p.m. and that we have one of the board members who has an obligation later on Monday nights, that we would entertain the idea of moving the meeting time up an hour to 5 p.m. to accommodate a board member.
I would want that. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks.
I mean, I guess somebody has to make a motion, so we want to change the time.
Does it require a motion? All right, I'll make a motion that for the months of July, August, that we move the meeting to start at 5 p.m. on the second Monday of each month.
Just for
And
those
then
two.
resume 6 p.m. with the September meeting.
I'll second. Discussion?
I personally think for a temporary time, I'm not sure what the need is, but I think that would be very confusing to the public who has been long provided a time and has been advertised for 6 p.m. time, and we regularly tell people the meetings are at 6. So I think that that's not fair to our residents.
Rose, do you have any comment? Ted?
Couldn't stay away.
Okay. Want to call the question? I mean, take the vote? Take the vote.
You want me to do that? Okay. Miller?
Yes.
Zelinski?
No.
Worth? Yes. Nelson?
Yes.
Motion passed. You said you had some more other business to come before the board?
Yes, so to add under unfinished business, I would like, I missed this in my notes here. Internet at the park and at Bendon. In our deal with the people, we were promised those free there, and I don't know where we're at with that. I think we need to follow up with them to make sure that's being done.
That was my comments.
I'm sorry.
That was, I was just gonna bring that up.
Right, and then also, in the policies that, I was talking about that I'd like to get added as soon as possible, I think we need to also, include a purchasing policy.
Okay, I'm gonna
For
back,
things like the Dropbox.
I'm gonna back you up. Internet at the parks. What,
At Lake Ann Park, Lake Ann Road Park, and at Bendon Hall. We were promised free internet, with the, allowing them to store their equipment here on our property. And I don't know where that's at.
so that was coming from
Cherry
the,
Capital or whatever they're called.
The call came in today. She called and it's ready to be installed and we have an appointment set for June 20th.
for both
Yeah.
places?
No, just to do Bendon. The fibers are all there, but we have to meet her over there, meet them over there, and they will get the Bendon Hall set up with internet, but we will have to probably purchase a router. And I'm not sure, I can ask them then about what they're doing for park internet access. Sure how that'll work.
They're still gonna run the line all the way up to the township.
Yeah.
So that's gonna take time. And, it's on their plan to, just like.
Oh, like when they were taking it
Just
to
like the
township?
township, hall, they didn't run it all the way to the end of the road, but I believe there's people up Bendon Road that are getting it, so they got to the road, and then while they were there, they got it to the township office this last week. And then they're gonna continue running up Bendon Road for the people who have signed agreements.
Sure.
And
Okay.
then it's forecasted out when, I don't know, to get up Lake Ann Road. But it takes time to run
Right.
through the whole thing, so I don't know when that'll be done. It's ran into the building.
Yeah.
At the township hall, at the old township hall, at the Bendon Hall. But like I said, they'll provide the actual cable modem, but we still need to provide the wireless, so it can be a wireless system. And that's something that the township had to buy from Intercontinental.
Right. I just didn't want it to get missed and
No.
yeah, and
So
forgotten.
we have to buy the router before they'll put
No.
No, you do it afterwards.
You do it afterwards?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I saw him the other day. About 10 weeks ago, and said something to me. I saw Tom and said something like, Rand, why aren't we taking this up? Didn't know for how long. And it's kind of funny that all of a sudden this.
And Lindsay would also appreciate a job description and expectations from the board. So I told her I would relay that message.
Job description for
her jobs that she was hired for.
For
Me and Lindsay talked about that a couple weeks ago, and we've been texting back and forth, trying to find a time for her and Rosemary and I to sit down and try to start one to bring to the board's attention.
Yeah, she brought it up today and says, I will bring that up. So that
We're waiting on her to give us an available date. She doesn't have many available dates to sit with us.
Does the MTA have draft?
Yes,
job
they do,
description?
and we do, but because, but they're more mainly geared for because it is a statutory duty of the clerk, so it's mainly geared towards that, and it is.
Statutory to sign the checks, not to create them.
I'm not gonna
If
say
that's a
that.
statutory thing, then why are we paying somebody that?
Because it's a complicated thing. Because things are statutory does not mean they have to do them. And MTA actually recommended taking statutory duties from clerks because of the election changes and because it's the board's responsibility to make sure things are done and done correctly. So if a board member who is assigned to do those jobs can't do those jobs, and like, if I can't take taxes because I can't program that in there, I'm elected, doesn't mean I'm qualified. So the board is still responsible to get somebody who can enter that payment correctly. Does that make sense? Because ultimately it's the board's responsibility. That's the way a board works, to make sure the job is done correctly. Yeah.
So we are moving forward on the job description.
We've been trying, Rosemary and I have been trying to do that, and then we can do it without Lindsay and see what she thinks of it. If that's what the board wants us to do. I wanted to hear, because she's been working in the system, I've not. Figured it would be good to have her input.
any more business come before the board? Yeah, Dayton.
I want a hard date when payroll needs to be in. Because it's changed week after week when it was Rose and Tree, so, because they came in on different days. So if I can get a hard date, and that has to be to Lindsay, then it's done, and then we don't have this game of, like, turned it into her on the 29th, but she's not available because she's out of town and we don't get our paychecks until whenever. So if we have a hard date, I have a hard date when payroll will be there, and it gives her 3 days or 4 days to have it done.
So
then
our policy says our pay periods are the first through the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
So the last day of the month, that doesn't mean that's when you get your paycheck. That means you're paid through the last day of the month. So technically, payday isn't till like the first or second of the month.
Well, we don't have a policy stating that our payday is.
I thought it stated in there that we were paid monthly.
If it does, but how can we be paid monthly if our pay goes through the whole month?
Lindsay did mention she would like to go to a bi-weekly payroll for that, and she also did pick a date that she said she worked with you to have for your final day.
That was scuttlebutt behind doors between us of trying to decide a day, but it really needs to come from the board.
Correct.
Directing me when payroll needs to be done. And for this amount of calls, I don't think it's worth spending that much money on checks for, because we've gone 14 days without getting a run. So,
Right.
or got one call, so it's not worth doing payroll every 2 weeks.
Right.
For writing a check for $20 for 5 people.
But
and
she
then-
wasn't gonna, she was gonna try, because you can through BSNA, you can do direct deposit. So she was also gonna go try to get back into that.
Right,
So,
that'd make it easier, but for us, yes, if we were full-time, absolutely every 2 weeks or whatever, but because we're just volunteer department,
right.
monthly works out a lot better.
So
So
Rosemary and I can try to get in contact with Lindsay again and add, because we had talked about that too, the payroll. Do a payroll policy and a thing, and if we can't all three figure out a time, then we'll just work with the MTA one and modify it, right, I agree.
Something we know every
Yep.
day or every month on this day. you know,
Right.
Because sometimes it's the 21st, sometimes it's the 27th.
but it still has to be before the end of the month, right?
No, it doesn't have to be. It depends on what our policy says. But the way that they've always done it, because it started with, started with Linda, because she wanted payroll on this day because she wasn't gonna come in on another day to do it at the end of the month.
Oh. So now we're saying we can set a date on the.
Yeah, just double check policy, make sure that what it says in there that we're paid first through the end of the month. And if it doesn't say anything, then we can set our own date.
You guys aren't talking up in your hands in front of your face, you know.
So we have to check with the policy to see what our policy says. If the policy
Just to be.
doesn't state a date, then we can go ahead and change it to whatever we want it to be. But knowing that it would be covering a month.
28th through the 27th, and then the 28th, 27th.
But then you're gonna have to prorate the checks for a period, at least till you get onto that schedule, if we're not on that schedule. Or
Well, I
deduct,
basically
right,
do every month anyways.
right. But but if we change everybody's, is that what we're talking about? Is that what or just dates?
He
You're talking about
wants to know
changing-
when his needs to
Right.
be. That's what he wants to.
You still wouldn't have to prorate anybody's.
No, if we move everybody to the same pay date is what I'm saying, then we would have to prorate it, but we're getting month for a full month.
No, because you still have those 3 days. If payday ends on the 27th of March, the next one starts the 28th through the 27th of April. So you're still getting your
You're still
30
getting
days
your-
or whatever days.
But at some point in your accounting, you have to account for those days that you've switched that, because if you switch to the 28th of the month and your previous check was for the whole month, then you have to do the, yes,
You guys, yes, not for me because I
right.
already
You
have
don't,
to, I already
right.
have to do that because I stop on the 24th so I can get you, and I have to remember the next month to add those 6 days. Because that's where some of the problem is I forgot some people's because I leave a note and I forget to check the note when I do the next month's payroll.
Okay, so our job will be just to check the policy and see whether or not we can change it. Right?
I don't think there's a policy on it. I am not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
It's not in the policy book, but I know Rose might have some extra ones in her office.
Any other business come before the board?
So there is a few things that are still like been out there that haven't been addressed at the board.
Can
Going on.
Can we get to that in public comment?
Well, one of it being the board needs to approve the finance committee roles that Ted brought to the board last month. Banner had suggested some changes and Ted brought roles that the finance committee was gonna follow. And he'd asked the board to approve those. Other things hanging out there is like the assessor contract has never been finalized.
The what contract?
The assessor's contract
Oh,
has never been finalized. You guys also talked about doing a fire committee. you know, there's that, in the process. We also talked about keys and locks and changing that. And one thing that really should be changed is the message on the phone system. When somebody calls in, because I've had several people complain that they're calling in and wanting to do a blight complaint, and the blight complaint goes to the supervisor on the phone message. So if you call it in, they're saying, if you want to leave a blight complaint at whatever, what, 3, 2, whatever, and it ends up being the supervisor. And we have supervisor, and the supervisor is not doing blight anymore, so the blight officer was not getting those complaints. So that message needs to be changed.
I don't know if there's a manual that came with the phone. I don't know how to change the message. And also I find the phone system rather problematic anyway. If it rings and all day long when I'm here as a treasurer, it rings in the main office. And by the time I get up and unlock the door and race there to answer it, you know, and then they hang up, and then 2 minutes later they call back, and 2 minutes later they call back, and can't answer the call.
You shouldn't have to, because
People are still calling them, and they're not, I can't tell you how many, I had a guy call me and he was so angry because he left 5 messages. I didn't get a single one of them because they weren't on my phone. Because people aren't listening, because it's long to listen to push number 7 to talk to the treasurer, or number 6 to talk to the zoning person. It's, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
So people
That's
just
not
hit
fair.
there, and
That's not on us.
I know, but it's complicated, and I've not listened to it. I'm just relaying messages, and I'm just relaying frustration of hearing the phone ring all day while I'm sitting here and not being able to answer it. So I don't know what the answer is, if there's a way to do something different with the phones or not.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Public comment. I'm gonna open public comment. Good grief, at 9:18. Any public comment? Dayton.
I'm really disappointed in the board, as we're paying somebody that we don't even have budgeted money for. Like I said earlier in my public comment, I addressed it, so maybe the board would even bring it up. And I got multiple people on the board shaking their head, yes, that it needs to be done, but we didn't even address it and even talk about it. So once again, we're paying people that are employees here out of what account? How are we supposed to budget that? How we know that it's doing right? How do we know it's not coming out of Billy Bob's line item instead of where it's supposed to be getting taken out of? We don't know. And then it's messing up everybody else's budget. If it's taken out of the deputy clerk's line item, then we're messing that line item up. So now when we look and gonna ask her to come in and do some hours, her rate's different. Or she doesn't have that much money because, oh, we took it out for her to be this new job. We still haven't created a line item to pay this person out of.
Have a budget. Money has to be moved into the account, and supervisor moves that.
Yeah, we were gonna move money from the surplus up to, salaries part-time for the governing body. But it never got done.
I'm pretty sure the clerk,
It's in governing body. It was taken out of governing body. No,
Where's that budget adjustment made? Because it wasn't made on last month's, because this didn't get brought up, and there was no budget adjustment on here for this month stating that.
Right.
Right, so we're doing it wrong. Because once again, we were reactive and not proactive. We decided what was going to do this before we got some information to this.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I do believe a budget adjustment only has to be done quarterly, right, Rose?
Right.
So we're good to do it till the end of this month.
Dave?
The old stove at Headland Hall. We need to make a motion to count that.
You missed that part.
Just wanted to make sure.
Did you hook up the new one?
Yeah, new one's all hooked up.
Oh, you did?
I just
Okay.
don't know what to do with the old one, because you guys have approved getting rid of it.
And this, you talked about it for half an hour.
Sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Okay. Well, since we voted for money to get it hooked up, but you already did it,
So
so.
it's hooked up. It's the old stove.
Our hope was for the people who hooked it up to get rid of it.
I'll just add it to
Okay.
Thank
You'll just have to arrange to meet with somebody to get into there. Okay. But we'll have to change that motion to jump to the old stove.
We're not gonna do anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other public comment? I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Good job, trustee Miller.
Yeah.
Remember, you have until tomorrow at 3 to get your resume in.
Oh, don't forget to pick up your draft. That's in the.
Oh, thank you.
I would have totally spaced that.
Me too.
Make copies. We're gonna make copies of it?
Yeah. Don't forget your draft. So who's taking care of the system to turn it off? I don't know how to do that. So I told her this is my rehearsal.